I was told that was the golden rule. Don't inhale. You just blow it out. But it's like you're trying.
Yeah, you're doing
you're trying to feeling it out. You're trying to you're doing the little puffs to feel it out. So I had the first cigar I ever smoked in my life was a Monte Cristo No. 2. Before I had weight loss surgery in 2017, I was 400 pounds.
Damn.
Yeah, I was a big boy. I'd always tell people, and they make fun of me, my friends, and they'd be like, I need to smoke a big cigar. It's got to be like a 58 ring gauge cigar. What am I gonna do with these sausage fingers smoking a 48 ring gauge cigar? I look ridiculous. I look like I'm smoking a cigarette. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I want an equal amount of blueberries in each muffin. I'm a big movie quote guy too.
You're in the right place, brother. You're in the right place.
I think we say it all the time. I think that we could have an entire episode, an entire conversation, just movie quotes.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Burn Down Podcast. In the studio today, we have our boy Brooklyn native Ray from Cigar Clowns in the studio.
Bang!
What's up, Ray? What's going on, brother, man?
What's up, gentlemen?
Welcome to the Burn Down. Appreciate you making the way out from Queens today.
On time.
Early.
I try.
Early.
No, that's one of my pet peeves. I like to be early for sure.
Because I think it was supposed to be 4:30. Right? Technically.
I think I was here at 4:20.
Yeah,
no,
he was here. He was here.
I was in the green room.
He's early.
I was in the green room.
He was rocking.
Good snacks in the green room as we brought some out.
There we go.
Hey,
brought out my mother's holiday cookies.
Yeah.
It's Christmas time. We got Christmas cookies. We got Christmas cigars made by Cigar Clowns. The Festivus 2024 we're smoking here.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah.
Real quick. While before we dive into this episode.
So this is a yearly release for us. It's it's one of our limited runs that we do. This is the fourth installment of the Festivus. We're big fans of Seinfeld over at the Cigar Clowns. So we kind of wanted to be a little bit different in the industry since we're, in that boutique kind of, genre craft boutique.
Yeah, you got to stand out.
So we try to stand out. Listen, we did a Halloween stick when we first started up back in 2021, and it's something we might dabble in the future. But, the Festivus was kind of a thing for us, like I said, being Seinfeld fans and, trying to be a little bit different and do something during the holiday season because this is kind of the slow season for the cigar industry. Kind of slows down at the end of the year, kind of, going into the new year and stuff like that. So we kind of wanted to bring something for the holidays, and it was showcased out at OGT Cigar Society out in California. Shout out to Eric. He brought in the first line of the Festivus for his society members. And it's been a consistent thing for us for the past 4 years. He's taken it on and put it in the society. It's a featured stick of the month, and he's been a big help in promoting the brand. But yeah, it's something that we like to do every year. It's a limited run. We do less than 10,000 a year. And
how many are in a box?
There's no box. They come in bundles. These bundles right here. This is one of the only lines that we don't do. Our limited runs we don't do in boxes.
Gotcha. Okay.
I love the packaging, man.
I appreciate it.
And you said this is
so
medium.
The sticker that we did for it, not to cut you off.
Oh yeah. It's a Festivus for the rest of.
I don't got a sticker on mine. You got a sticker on?
Well, I took that was an extra pack I took. You
Sorry,
can take the
bro.
sticker off and use it.
Sorry, bro.
Take it off, put it on the thing.
Yeah, you know what?
Well, listen, I'm getting wall on here, so I got to get something for put on this wall. I got to send you guys.
Yeah, can we take
it off?
You can take it off.
We got a sticker board. We're going to put on a sticker board.
Yeah, put it on the sticker board. Definitely.
I like that.
So this is obviously more of a medium plus, maybe medium to full bodied kind of. Depending on if you're for us, it's probably medium, but
yeah. Well, it's me. Yeah, same thing.
If you're not a seasoned cigar smoker, this might be a little bit full body. Just kind of like our blueprint. Our blueprint is the same thing. For us, it's more medium, but for some people that haven't had cigars, they're like, ooh, that's a little strong.
Like, this is my palate. So the running joke in between me and my partner Danny and Joe is that this is a race stick. That's like, they know my palate. Like, listen, we have to kind of entertain, our customers and what they like. We've done to date, which I'm sure we'll dive into, we've done 37 cigar releases since inception in 2021. So, we started on the limited trail, but again, I'm sure we'll get into that. But for me, like, there are cigars that we've made that I like. There's cigars that I love, and there's cigars I'm like, all right, it's good enough to pass our, rigorous, testing and stuff like that. But I don't love every single stick that we've released. The joke around is we say, well, what's your favorite Cigar Clown stick? The next one. That's the next one.
It's not when people like, we only have our 2 cigars, right? And always, what's your favorite? I'm like, well, I smoked this one in the morning and then I smoked that one in the evening. But when you have so many cigar lines, there's going to be one. Like, if you had 30, would you say 32 or 37?
37. I think Festivus 2024, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure Joe will kill me. It's either 37 or 38.
So when you have that many, right? Odds are you're gonna like some more than others.
Right.
And when you're making a cigar, and when you're blending a cigar, and you're tasting a cigar, some people you have to kind of put yourself in your consumer and your customer's shoes and say, is this okay? Maybe this isn't for me and for my palate, but is what I'm tasting here the flavor that we're going for the customer? Right. Is this cigar meeting all the boxes that maybe I don't necessarily want in a cigar, but
Right.
the consumer wants.
Right.
So you're like, yes, this is a good cigar for what we want, but maybe not something that I want to smoke every single day.
Right.
And that's the kind of mindset. Instead of just saying, all right, I don't like this cigar, trash. Like, well, maybe you don't like it, but is that what maybe our consumers are going to like it?
Right. Well, I mean, that's always a rule of thumb, even with me when we do the testing. Like, there have been blends that we've done that I'm like, no, no, absolutely
Can't
not.
do it.
It's terrible. And then you smoke it that second time, and you're like, all right, well, maybe my palate was off. It's not terrible. And then I have the rule of 3. That's the rule that we've kind of built our brand on. It's the rule of 3. You got to smoke it 3 times on separate occasions, maybe in the morning, maybe in the afternoon, maybe in the night, maybe cleanse your palate for a couple of days, because I can say for me, like, even when it comes to food and liquor and drinking, like, being in the business has opened my palate up to so many different flavor profiles, and even when it comes to food and liquor, and because we're testing so much, so it kind of expands. So where your palate lies, and listen, there are things that I don't like this is my wheelhouse. This
and
I can smoke every day, morning, afternoon, and night.
And what's the make of this cigar? I know you said Habano.
This is an Habano 2000 Maduro, and it's a Nicaragua filler and binder.
Oh, that's a heavy hitter.
Yeah,
heavy hitter.
Nicaraguan and Dominican.
No, all Nicaraguan.
All Nicaraguan. There you go. That's your pepper bomb for you. Because I taste a lot of pepper. But also, like when you said the rule of 3, right? Try it again.
Right.
Because sometimes if you have a day where you're just tasting,
right,
and you're tasting,
right,
you're tasting all these, or you had a day where maybe I smoked 2 cigars already, and I'm tasting a third one, and I'm tasting a fourth, and I'm tasting a fifth. By the time you get to the 5th one, you're like, well, shit, I'm not really
right.
You might pick it up and say, I don't like this cigar, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next day you taste that cigar first.
Mm-hmm.
You go, ooh, this is totally different now.
Right.
So the rule of 3, have it in different occasions, morning, night, have it after a meal, have it before, you have to, because maybe one day you had something that, like you had fish, right? Let's say you had salmon, and then you go to taste and you're like, this really just kinda,
hell no.
it doesn't match the food.
Right.
So
I get that. So before we get into Cigar Clowns and a whole, because you're established, 3 years now? 4 years? 2021?
We've been around since 2018, not officially, but we became an official brand during the pandemic, so early 2021.
All right. So before all that, we like to know who our guest is. So one of my favorite questions to understand our guest is Ray from Brooklyn, born and raised. Who was Ray like in high school?
Ray was the jock in high school.
The jock.
Yeah. Ray
What sport?
was the jock football.
Football. All right. What position?
Offensive line. I played in high school. I started at tackle, and then I worked my way to guard my sophomore year, and then I was a center my junior and my senior year. And I was brought up as a freshman to varsity to play. Because my dad started me in football when I was in pads at 5. So my love for football comes from my dad. And he
were you always like a bigger kid?
I call it Buster Brown Stocky, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like that's what I meant.
mean?
Like
Yeah.
thicker, stockier than most kids at your age.
Stocky.
Yeah, definitely I would say
What
Stocky.
What school was it?
I went to New Utrecht High School.
What is it?
New Utrecht High School in Benson, in Dyker Heights.
Dyker Heights.
Yeah.
My wife was just there last week.
And now, did you play after high school at all?
I played in the street after high school, so we
Yeah,
had
we
the
all
Dust
did.
Bowl league,
We all
like
did.
the rough touch leagues. Yeah, I did that
Oh,
afterwards.
dude, I got a quick story about Rough Touch League.
I love it.
Oh, so I might have even told this story on the show before, but
You tell a story more than once on the show?
dude,
No
we
way.
played- so I didn't play football in high school, right? I played basketball. I should have played football. Should have been wide receiver, and they wanted me to, but I didn't.
That's what I played.
I didn't because I knew that I was going to college to play basketball, and I was like, well, if I go there and I get hurt, then my parents will be pissed.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're playing, but it didn't stop me from playing in the schoolyard, playing that whatever you call it, the dust.
Well, we called it the Dust Bowl because it was a Dust Bowl.
Yeah, we used to play
That's a book.
in the winter and on the cold, frozen ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember having it was like a 5 or I think it was a 5-yard, 10-yard in, just up, square out, and the quarterback threw it high.
Fucking level.
And you're just like, fucking, I'm going to get that ball.
Yeah,
I was like, I can get that. That's not that high. I can
You're
get
dead
that.
meat.
Jump up, full extension,
Set you up for failure.
caught the ball, and you're playing tackle with
Yeah.
no pads because
Yep.
you're an idiot.
Yep.
Right in the rib cage. I couldn't breathe like 5
Oh, I
minutes.
thought you were
I was
going
like,
to say he
I was like,
freaking leveled you
No.
by the legs. You
no,
flipped
he
over.
hit me right in the rib cage. She was like up like this, caught me, and I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then they're like, all right, so whatever you play, 5 on 5 or
Yeah.
8 on 8 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, we're gonna play 7 on 7 because Justin's out for the next couple of plays, and then Justin, you good? Come back in, 8 on 8 again.
Yeah.
It's just like nobody gave a shit.
That
You're
was
just
the
like, get
same.
off the field.
Yeah,
I would-
7 on
yeah.
7 with a giver. That's how we did.
Yeah.
There's I have a
From
friend.
Mississippi.
I have one of my buddies is from Brooklyn, and he's in I think it's a flag football league in Brooklyn, but he used to send me all these videos. Like, it's fucking intense.
Oh, dude, the competition level, and dude,
bro.
I'm talking about. I know how it is now, but back in the day when we played in that, because it was called the Expo League in Dyke Heights and Bensonhurst.
Dude, flag football is vicious.
I wouldn't even call it. I wouldn't even call it flag, bro.
Right.
Like, that shit is intimidating.
Oh, dude. Oh, you don't got time to me.
Well,
I know.
So have you ever played? Because there's two different flags.
I think it's like New York.
There's
flag
there's 5-on-5, right, which is like no touch,
right.
But then there's 7-on-7,
right.
which you can jam at the line.
Yeah. And
it's funny because I played both. I played 5-on-5,
right.
And then somebody had asked me like, "Hey, do you want to play in flag football?" I was like, "Sure, I've been playing 5-on-5, no problem." So I go, "Yeah, it's on this weekend. We're just playing a little tournament. Come out, play wide receiver." No. I remember the first play. I didn't know that you could jam on the line,
right.
the 5 yard. You could jam within 5 yards. I didn't know that for 7-on-7. I'm just thinking, all right, he's going to let me go by, and he's just going to have to play defense. So the first play, I go to make a move, and the guy just bam, and I'm just like totally shocked. I'm like, what the fuck was that? You're allowed. Right. I look at my I'm like, you're allowed to do that? And he goes, yeah, dude, this is 7-on-7. I was like, oh, okay. That would have been nice to know that before the guy just like jammed me with not even preparing. Now you're prepared for it, and you can run through it. But I was like, what the fuck was that?
Those leagues, bro, they're fucking rugged.
Oh, dude, you don't gotta tell me, man. You got your friendly rivals in the neighborhood with the boys, and then you got your the kids in the neighborhood you don't like that you have a little bit of tension with, so it gets a little bit more heated on the field. There's fights breaking out, the refs are breaking up, throwing flags everywhere. Yeah,
it's flag football, but it. Like,
I never played flag.
Dude,
you don't play flag.
No, you get hit. No. You get hit.
No, I think it's illegal in Brooklyn to play flag football. I'm not sure.
It could be.
Maybe back then. I don't know about now.
We used to play it with dish rags. You take two dish rags and shove them in your shorts. That's how you used to play.
I didn't. When I wasn't playing, I was just playing on the PAL like on a Saturday once, and I remember being. I think I was in 9th or 10th grade, and caught the ball. I juked. He was either a junior or a senior. He was older than me, but he was like one of those guys in high school. Like, he's a fucking beast.
Right.
I remember getting right past him. I'm like, quick second. I was like, oh shit, I just got this kid. He fucking grabs me from behind and just German suplexes me. Boom! Landed right on my head. Talking about being out for like 10 plays. I'm like, my fucking bell was wrong.
Yeah, there was no such things as concussions back then.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Nah, you sit out, like, can you see again?
Yeah, you're a good guy. Go back out there. Yeah, 100%.
That was
100%.
Fucked up. It was fucked up.
So after high school, bring us into your story about how you went from, because how old are you now?
I'm going to be 42 in 2 weeks.
42. Okay, so you went from high school from 18. So tell us about like your story to get into, like, how did you ultimately, because people don't in high school, you don't come out of high school and be like, I want to be a cigar manufacturer.
No.
I want to own
Did you smoke cigars in high school?
Nobody does that.
When did you start smoking cigars?
So I started smoking cigars because of my grandfather. I was always intrigued by it.
Yeah.
So my grandfather was a Monte Cristo No. 2 guy.
Sure.
Ashton, Connecticut.
Class.
Yeah, class.
Stick, man.
He would go out on. He lived out in Long Island. He actually lived in Lynbrook. And he would sit out on the deck after dinner with his fruit, and he would sit there with his Grand Marnier, and he would have a cigar.
With a Grand Marnier?
Grand Marnier.
Yeah,
every single night.
That's a great pairing.
It's a phenomenal
every
pairing.
single night, that was his thing. So I was always in awe of it. I was always like, and I always liked the smell of it, even as a kid. Never did any drugs in high school. I was a good boy.
You were a jock.
Well, I was a jock, yeah. And I was petrified of my mother. So yeah, there was no doing drugs.
That's usually a good reason.
Yeah, I wasn't getting beaten with the spoon. It wasn't happening. So I'm a wooden spoon survivor.
Yeah,
but
me and
anyway.
you both.
Listen, we all got it. Okay.
Yeah.
How many spoons got broken on the back of my back?
I got
or shoes thrown at you.
Oh,
spoon and belt. That was me.
So I always had a liking for it, and I think it was maybe a year or two after high school. I'm like, Grandpa, I want to try one. He goes, you're not ready for this. I go, no, this is the Italian side of the family because I'm half Irish, half Italian. So my mother's Italian, my father's Irish. And he goes, he's going to turn green, you're going to throw up. I'm like, all right. Well, he goes, here. He cuts it for me, he shows me how to light it up, and I smoke it. And I champed through it. I made it all the way through. Didn't get green.
Did you inhale it all or no?
Didn't inhale.
Okay.
I was told that was the golden rule. Don't inhale.
Don't inhale.
It out. But it's like, you're jarring.
Yeah, you're doing
you're trying to feeling it out.
You're doing
the little puffs to feel it out. So I had the first cigar I ever smoked in my life was a Monte Cristo No. 2, which was Cuban.
The Cuban?
Yeah.
So the first one you had was Cuban?
First cigar I ever had was
Cuban. So you got
Cuban.
spoiled right off the rip.
I did, but you know what? I'm not.
Today,
I agree. It doesn't do it for me.
I agree.
I always say that because everybody asks, as soon as they find out you're a cigar guy, they go, are Cubans really as good? And I go, listen. I said, it's just like wine.
It's an acquired taste.
It's like wine. Certain wines from certain places of the world taste differently, right? A French wine is going to taste different than an Italian wine is going to taste different than a Portugal going to taste different than California. They all have their own regions and they taste different. Same thing with tobacco. They all have different countries, and a Cuban tobacco is going to taste different than Nicaragua. It's going to taste different than Dominican, than Nicaraguan, and Honduras. They all taste different. So if Cuba, that flavor doesn't work with your palate, then it doesn't mean that Cuba's bad. It just means that you don't really like it.
No.
Right? You could fall in love with Cubans and be like, they're the greatest things in sliced bread.
Right.
But does that mean the other ones from Nicaragua and all the other places are bad? No. It's just whatever
just
works
preference
with your palate.
nowadays.
Yes, preference. It's just another country that happened to make really good tobacco, really good cigars back in the day. Now, it's pretty
It was also hard to get. So
I think it was the mystique too back then with the embargo, and you would smoke Cuban cigars, and it was like, oh, I can't get my hands on them. Can you bring them back for me? You know.
Now, even though I think it's still, you
can bring up to 100.
Yeah,
I think
something like that.
Now it's not that hard. You can just order them online and they ship them.
But here's the funny part about that, as many people don't know. Even in Cuba, they're bootlegged.
Oh, of course.
So it's like you don't know what you're getting. So do you really want to spend all this money on something you might not potentially have that's not real?
My cousin was in Cuba for a few weeks, and she came back with cohibas and all this, and she's like, Eric, come over. I got some cohibas. I wanted you to take some. I said, oh, great. In the back of my head, I mean, it's my girl cousin, so she doesn't know anything about cigars. And I'm like, all right. In the back of my head, I said, I hope you didn't get scammed. So I come over, I open the box, and I'm just like, psh, you got.
You got
the glass, the sliding glass with the wood.
That happens. You know how many guys, my friends that go on vacation,
so
they send that to me. They send like, "Hey, look, I got the Cubans." And the first sign is it's in a box with a glass, and there's
it wasn't even a glass. It was a Cuban Cohiba box, but you opened up the box and the wrappers were just fugazi AF.
I always just tell them, I was like, they go, are these real? And I'm like, smoke them, you'll know.
Yeah, you'll know.
You'll know immediately.
Oh yeah, you'll know. And but even the bootleggers have gotten good with the bands.
The band, yeah.
I mean, you're talking about almost perfect, like 99% perfect with the squares lined up on the cohibas and everything.
I always tell people,
the hologram and everything.
That was always the giveaway. The Indian, at least the cohibas, the 2 Indian heads, the 9 squares, the 9 rows, the hologram on the both sides, the colors. Now it's
And another thing too is like you'll know it's easier to tell. It's easier to tell if it's a legit box because there's a lot of stuff that goes into the box. Like one thing is you have to make sure all the labels are lined up because that's something that they're very very adamant about.
OCD
about the labels lining up. Also, all the labels. They can't be like shit. They have to be all perfectly up. And there's the tissue paper. You put in your hand, it curls up.
Yep.
It's easy.
Do you want to go that to just smoke a cigar? I mean, really? I mean, some people do. But I mean, me? No, thank you. I want to open the box and take a cigar and smoke it.
I always say, listen. I go. I've had.
I got to put white gloves. Not the control. I got to put white gloves on to smoke a Cuban. Now I'm good.
I've had Cubans that are great. Okay, like a Romeo and Juliet wide Churchill. I love it. It's a great stick. It's one of it's the size that we modeled our cigar after. Great stick. The Monte Cristo No. 2. It's a good stick. Okay, but I've also had Cubans that I don't really like.
Sure.
So I'm like, am I really, really, really gonna go out of my way to search the planet far and wide to get the exact? No. Okay. I think I can take my money and get something just as enjoyable, if not more, at my local.
People
lounge.
just like the word, like, oh, I smoke my Cubans. Like, I meet new cigar guys, like guys who are a little bit older than me, who, they look at me like, oh, you're a 33-year-old guy who smokes cigars.
Right.
I'm like, what are you doing? Like, oh, I like my Cubans. He's like, I'm gonna smoke my Cohiba. I'm gonna go get my Cubans. I'm like, all right, man. Like, it's not as much.
You like what you like.
It's not as much as a flex as you think it is anymore.
That's it.
But then you get those guys that are like, oh, I got the Cubans. You want one? And they give it to you, and instantly I'll know that's like fake, and I go. They just let him save face.
Thanks,
like,
bro.
All right, man.
Thanks for the Cubans.
He's like, oh, I got these Cubans.
I got these Cubans plugged.
I got the hookup.
Plugs. Like, I remember I smoked a few Cubans in my bachelor party.
Some of them are hard to draw. Yeah.
They're really hard to draw. And I remember I opened up, I forgot what kind of Cuban it was. It was in the morning. We woke up after a night of booze, and I was in the pool. I'm like, let me try this Cuban. I was smoking in the pool with coffee, and I was just like fucking sucking it like a fucking prostitute on 5 o'clock on a Saturday.
Didn't you drop one in my pool?
I did. I dropped the Romeo and Juliet in the pool. But this one I was like fucking like sucking a golf ball through a garden. I was like, I'm like, fuck this cigar, and I just
gone.
So annoying. It's so
bad. It's a handmade product. That's the only thing that's
I love when the guys go, dude, I got the hookup.
I got the hookup. I
got these Cohibas.
Yeah.
$20 a pop. I go, they're fake. He goes, no. I know the guy. I go, dude, I'm like, they don't even sell them at cost.
Right.
$20 a box. Okay.
Facts.
That the Cohiba Bahiques,
Right.
the 52s and 54s.
One of my favorites.
Things like $150 a stick.
Easily.
Okay.
If
You're not
you're
getting them
lucky.
for 20. All
That's
right?
wholesale.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
you can get a
100%.
box for like a few grand. Okay.
Easily.
You're not getting them for $20 a
Yeah.
stick.
Yeah.
They're fake. All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to burst your bubble here. They're
Yeah.
fake. Okay.
Right.
Just buy a box of blueprints,
If
buy a
you would've
diligence, or a
told
box
me-
of Cigar Clowns.
If
There
you'd
you
have
go.
told
That's
me
all you
I
gotta do.
got them from a hookup, I paid like $120 about their usual. I go, okay, maybe. But $20, no, sorry.
But it's still
Not
50-50.
It's
Still
that's why I
50-50.
said maybe.
Right.
If you know a guy, if you went somewhere on
Right.
vacation, you took maybe. So, but most odds
No.
are no.
Right. Right.
Anyway, so your grandfather got you into smoking
Yeah.
cigars. The first one you smoked was a Cuban.
Correct.
So what was your professional life from then on out? What
My
were you-
professional life. Oh boy.
Yeah, I
I
wanna
jumped
know-
around, did a lot of jobs in my professional life.
Hey,
early
let's
days.
get into it.
So,
Haven't we all?
Yeah.
I did catering for a very long time. I worked my way up from, bussing the back tables and waitering the back tables all the way up to head tables and the bride of the groom and all that stuff. And
Now, were you a chef at the catering or no?
No, I just did waitering tables.
Waitering,
Yeah, from
okay.
a young I did that through high school. I went through from like 16 into my early 20s doing the catering. So I did it for a long time. And actually one of my best friends to this day is still one of my best friends. I was his best man at his wedding. So I worked my way up to bartender, which is, it was you either went the route of going from bartender or you went to maitre d'. And I had no interest in being the maitre d'. So I was like, bartender seems cool.
Probably
Like,
make more money, Bart.
yeah,
a lot more fun.
Yeah. Well, the cool part about it was back then is that they would let the bartenders keep their own tips. They wouldn't split it with the floor.
Oh, so they didn't split it with everybody.
Right.
else.
So the
No.
bartenders kind of split the pot between the bars. So if you had two bars in the game, the two of you would
Yeah.
split your tips. So if you did well and it was a wedding where they were shelling out cash.
Nowadays,
it's big Italian wedding.
Nowadays,
Oh,
it's
no
all
doubt.
collective.
Now everybody. So I mean, I'm sure a lot of places back then did it, but the place that I worked at the townhouse, which is no longer in existence, that's the way that they did it back then. So I did the bartending thing for a while. Then I left that. And then I went into the car parts industry for a long time.
Oh.
Yeah, I would.
Are you robbing trucks on the LIE or no?
Did we talk about that on the podcast? No.
We can cut that part out.
Pulling up in a Honda Civic.
We're gonna edit that out.
That's an exclusive segment you can pay for.
You can pay. Yeah, you can. Yeah, go on Patreon and pay for
Shooting
that.
them with a spear gun, hopping in on the truck.
What are they
No,
doing?
I actually delivered car parts. So I did the delivery. So I did it for like a small business called Mr. Bargain Auto Parts on Staten Island. I did that for a number of years, and my mother's cousin owned the same franchise. Not they weren't together, same name, but one was in Brooklyn, one was in Staten Island. So I was between those two, and then it's after that I migrated to Lexus in Brooklyn. I did car parts for Lexus where they gave you the truck and you went out to different places and you dropped off auto parts. They pretty much. What the cool part about it, from going from putting it in your own vehicle with your own gas to using their vans, is you would come in and they would already have the truck loaded up for you.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So load it up, just get in the car, get the keys, and go out. Fill up the tank, and then go.
I don't think
go
there's
get your
anything.
job done.
Almost no better feeling in certain aspects than a free full tank of gas. Free
Yeah.
gas.
Yeah.
When you have free gas,
Yeah.
like I had company cars in the past with company gas cards, and I'm like, I'm fucking driving everywhere, just charging it to your car, and it's like,
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I do that.
Oh,
I do
the
that
best.
now. Like I don't travel as much now, but I used to travel a lot more for work. And whenever we travel,
mileage report.
when I get home, right, you get an expense report.
Mhm.
And if I would drive to the airport, okay, get on the plane, whatever do you got to do, land the plane, drive home. Right before I get home, fill up the tank of gas.
Right.
Fill it up right here at the corner and go home.
Right.
Expense it.
Of course.
Free tank
Sure.
of gas. I'm
Hell
like,
yeah.
hell, I'm not. You give me a free tank of gas, man.
Yeah.
I had to drive to the airport and I had to drive back. Okay?
Right.
Expense. Full
Yeah.
tank.
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
Every time.
Absolutely.
You got to get paid for the
Hell
mileage.
yeah.
Yeah.
Free tank of gas
Right.
because there's nothing. You're right. That feeling of going into your car and it's past the F. It's all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good feeling,
It's
man.
nice.
Yeah. That's cool.
It's completely opposite when it's like bouncing off the E and you're like,
Yeah.
am I going to get home or
Yeah.
no?
It's like screaming.
Yeah.
Got the light on. You're like,
Yeah.
run on fumes.
Very few feelings in this world than a full tank of gas, man.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
There's no worse feeling but having almost no tank of gas in the city. Like you're in Queens or Manhattan and you're
Yeah.
fucking like panic. You're like,
Yeah.
where the you find this off gas station and
Yeah.
like $5 a gallon.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah, yeah.
Fuck,
Well, you know what's
banged.
worse than that is like, so everybody knows, right? When you can see them now, you can see the mileage, how much is left.
Right.
Older cars, you couldn't
Right.
see that, but
Right,
now you
right,
can
right.
see how much left to empty.
Mhm.
And when it gets like it'll say, okay, 30, 28, 20. When it gets to like 25, then it just goes to
Zero.
Or
no,
it shuts off and it says like low fuel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
But when you first get to the E, right? Let's say you're on a road trip, like, all right, I got 25 miles left.
Right.
And you look at you're like, all right, I'll be home, no problem.
Right.
But when you get home and then you forget and you wake up the next day and turn the car on, and it just says low fuel. You go, shit, how much do I got left? Do I have low fuel 24 miles?
Right,
do I have
right,
low fuel 2 miles? Like you forget what you have.
I used to feel like that when we used to go down to Atlantic City all the time. It's like you're driving down to Atlantic City and you're like, all right, I'm at a quarter of a tank. And then you see the next sign after the service station that's coming up. Next service station's in 52 miles. Like, oh, I guess I got to get off and get gas, even though it's packed. But I got to do what I got to do. It is what it is.
Yeah, no, it's...
Or you're playing Russian roulette until you get to the next one.
Sometimes you stretch it. It's like 52 miles. You got 51.
I've never got stranded from running out of gas.
Not me either.
But my little brother
friend
has.
Yeah.
And my brother called me up once. He's like, bro, you got to come give me a tank of gas. My brother was always the one like push the limits. Like if he had the low gas, he'd be like, fuck it, I'll figure it out.
Right.
He called me up once.
I
had to like drive like 45 minutes out, go get it. I'm like, dude, how the fuck do you run out of gas? Like, don't you just know? Just put $10 in and just get home, bro. Come on. He's like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right.
I've done that. Like, you get the high, you're going to pay a little bit more, and you get like, I'll throw 20 minutes, and then when I get back into the neighborhood, I'll, we get the low, they don't know where the gas spots is, and then I'll fill up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's funny. Like in my town, my wife thinks I'm bizarre, but in my town, there's one gas station that's 20 cents more every single day.
Right.
But it's only like 0.3 of a mile difference.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're in town, if we're right in, like, she's like, oh, it's Paul. I'm like, no, we're going that way. She's like, why? I'm like, it's 20 cents less. She's like, really? 20 cents? I'm like,
yeah, 20 cents is 20 cents.
It's a principle
yeah,
thing. Like, it's a marginal thing, all right?
Listen, you got 20 cents. You got a 20-gallon tank, man.
Yeah.
20 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
It's like $4 right
Come
there.
on, bro. That's like a...
It's like extra $4 or $5. I got and now
Easily.
think about it. You extra $4 or $5 every week. You fill up.
Mm-hmm.
That's $250 for the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's like 5 tanks of gas.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So you're getting 5 free tanks by going the other way.
That's why it's important.
You
She's
know?
like, you're always looking at gas. I'm like, why do you think everyone obsesses about gas prices?
I get a cup of coffee, so I can
true.
go to this one, save the $5, and get you a cup of coffee.
Right.
But the kicker on the one gas station that's 20 cents more is if you spend more than $20, you get a free cup of coffee. So
all right, so you got an incentive.
yeah. So when I had my gas card, when I had a company car, I would always go to that gas station because I always got the gas.
Sure.
And then once I left, I was like, man, I'm not going to that gas station anymore. But yeah, it's a principle thing. It's a principle thing.
So tell us about so you're delivering auto parts.
Yeah.
Right. You're at Lexus.
Yeah.
Smoking cigars in between this time, I'm assuming.
When I was at Lexus, was I?
Yeah, because you had it. You had your first cigar with your grandfather.
So
now,
smoking cigars, but not smoking cigars like I do like now over the past like 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it would smoke, like on a Saturday or on a Friday,
Yeah,
not
once
during the week, once in a while when I was out. So to kind of sidetrack off of that, there was this place in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn called Cafe Ammonia. It was a Greek place. And that's back then when we were allowed to smoke in there. We were allowed to smoke in the bowling alley and the restaurants. It was kind of in that, what was that, like 2003, 2004, when they kind of started to shut it down.
Yeah.
So we used to go there and we used to go upstairs. They used to let you go upstairs. You used to order, be able to coffee and food and you'd be able to smoke up there. So we would go smoke up there. So like at that time.
the good old days.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know shit about cigars. I mean, I smoked a Cuban. Well, what do you do? But I don't know the first thing about cigars. I mean, I'm just kind of getting into it backtracking a little bit. So like going through that period of time when I was working in the auto parts industry, I was smoking the Consigliere by CAO. I was smoking Don Diego, Baccarat. I didn't know it was Baccarats.
You smoked the name. You smoked the name.
You smoked the name. 100%.
Yeah.
Then I went through a phase of, when the Asylum 13s first came out.
Yeah, those are.
And I was a big guy. I used to be before I had weight loss surgery in 2017. I was 400 pounds.
Damn.
Yeah, I was a big boy. I'll show you pictures later. I was a big dude. Not at that time, but I was in the high 200, low 300s. I was a big dude. So I was like, I'd always tell people, and they make fun of me, my friends, and they'd be like, I need to smoke a big cigar. It's got to be like a 58 ring gauge cigar. What am I gonna do with these sausage fingers smoking a 48 ring gauge cigar? I look ridiculous. I look like I'm smoking a cigarette. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. Funny enough, I smoked cigars, but I never smoked a cigarette in my life.
Yeah.
Never did vape and any of that
Same
shit.
here.
So
did anything but
the only time I ever smoked a
cigars.
cigarette was as a joke. I would think, you got a fucking heater? Give me a fucking heater. I put it in my ear, walk around like fucking.
Got a Lucy?
Yeah,
Lucy?
Fucking
I think,
smoke it.
I think the
Alright,
closest thing I ever had was when those like cigarellos came out, like the little
Yeah.
cigarellos.
In the little tin
The
cans.
Capones. The
Yeah,
Capones.
the closest
The
one.
Capones.
Never
Yes.
inhaled it.
Yes.
Never smoked weed. I think I smoked hookah.
I did hookah. Yeah, I did hookah. I did
Oh,
hookah.
bro.
But no weed.
I had
no
a hookah. I owned
cigarettes.
2 of them.
I used to love
We used to-
hookah.
Hookah was great. When it first came out, you're like, this is fucking great, bro.
We used to do some
Dragon clouds.
Dude, we
Golden
used
clouds
to do
out.
like surgery because the colder you got the water,
Yeah.
the milkier the smoke.
Oh,
we
yeah.
used to do surgery. Be like, all right, here's what we're gonna do, and like the longer the hose, like
Yeah.
the longer. So we would put ice in it. We
Yep.
put ice in the thing,
Yep.
put it in the freezer.
Yep.
Then we put the hose in the freezer, and then we made like a mouthpiece out of a Gatorade bottle. We put the hose in the bottom of the Gatorade bottle, but we put ice in a Gatorade bottle, and then you have cold, and you'd be like, we thought we were like surgeons. Like, we're gonna do this. Put some tape on here.
Don't. Yeah, two hoses. Don't smoke it at the same time because you're gonna make the coal too hot, and then the smoke's gonna burn. It's gonna taste like shit.
And here's the funny thing: everybody had their own way to poke the holes. They go, I know how to do it. You gotta do one
square, triangle.
Yes.
They're all like, no. I got
a lot of holes. The guy told me to do the minimum holes, do more holes. Yeah.
I'm gonna pack it. I'm gonna pack it. The shisha. I know what to do.
We used to smoke a hookah in my buddy's Pontiac Trans Am. We used to
in the car.
In the car, bro.
Mobile hookah.
Bro. We were waiting for the Madden release one year. This is when I was like, 18, 19, 20. We were in front of GameStop. Drops at 12. We posted up in the parking lot. All right, let's fucking rip out the hookah. Put the hookah in the center console, and you had 5 people, but you're like this. So we're all like passing the hookah like this, bro. I walked out of that car. I was like, whoa. Yeah. Holy shit. I was like, man. I don't feel so good. I'm like fucking I felt fucking crazy. Yeah. I was like, damn, this shit is really fucking nuts. We ended up getting mad in that day because we just laughed.
You ever do like, you have the guys who used to do their own blends? They're like a chef. Like, I'm going to take a little bit of the apple, a little bit of the blueberry,
the mint.
a little bit of the mint. You put it all together. Like, I got to put the blueberry first and then the mint. Like, it was like a whole science. They were like, just give me the fucking hose, man. I remember one of my wife's clients, I'm not going to say his name, had a birthday party, and it was they were a Middle Eastern family, and he had his birthday party at his house, and we were invited because she was one of the clients, so I came, and all of a sudden, like halfway through the party, he's got like these servers, and these servers walking out with
giant ass
hookahs, and I'm like, the fuck kind of party is this, right? They're playing like the Indian music, the Middle Eastern music, the Middle Eastern vibe, and dude, people they were ripping shots, they were doing hookah, everybody got their own little like hookah condom, and dude, I'm like, this is fucking great, man. This is, I want to come to this party every year. It was sick, dude. They had hookah stations, they had a bartender, people, they're dancing, they're going wild, they're doing the all these Indian like dances. I was loving it. I was like, this is, I'm like, these people know how to party, man. Like, you ever seen a Middle Eastern wedding?
Yeah, they know how to party.
Nuts.
One of my friends is Middle Eastern. They know how to party.
Dude, they know how to
go to the Indian people
party, man.
Yeah, they know how to party.
I did that in the catering hall. They had an Indian wedding once, and they went to like 2, 3 o'clock. They were paying extra. They had that place open until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
The wedding is like a week.
Yeah,
it's like a week.
It's like
a
They know how to freaking. They know how to do it.
Yeah, they do.
Bro, I've seen weddings on Long Island. They fucking come in with like, I don't know if it was Long Island or somewhere else in the United States, but they're fucking coming in on elephants and shit.
Oh, dude.
And I'm like,
dude, that's what I'm saying. Like you go over to, like, they'll always have 2 weddings. Like, they'll have the American wedding, and then they'll fly back to wherever they're from, whether it's Pakistan or India.
Right.
They fly back. The wedding's over there. Like, you'll have a wedding here, it costs you $50,000. Sure. They go over there, it's like $500,000. It's like they got lions and tigers, and there's like it's like a week long. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. It's nuts, dude.
It's like the scene when Aladdin comes into the town as the prince.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's like. Prince Ali. Yeah. That's exactly what it's like.
It's exactly
right. It's the truth.
And you're like, fuck, we have no idea how to party, man.
No,
they get down. They get down.
No.
Crazy, man.
No.
Shout out to the Middle Easterns. They know how to get down.
They know how to get down.
And they had he was like, all right, they got it. You want the mint's over there, vanilla's over here, coffee's over there, and like the fruit ones over. You just bouncing back and forth like a tasting. I feel like I'm a wine tasting. I'm just tasting all the hookahs. You go through one loop, you get a drink at the bar, you go dancing. You do another loop.
You have your mouthpiece. Take the mouthpiece out, go to the next one.
And I had a cigar the whole time too, so I'm smoking a cigar. I'm like, all right, a combination.
What do I got here, Justin? What kind of cookie is this?
So those are that's just a regular like.
I'm gonna pair my sugar cookie.
It's a sugar cookie with lemon icing.
There you go.
It's a sugar cookie with lemon icing. That's all it is.
Lemon icing.
Yeah. Just a regular cookie.
Nice.
Good. It's a red cookie.
All right, so we're back. We're back with Ray.
Speaking of which, I'll grab one of those. Do you want a regular cookie or do you want the gingerbread?
Whatever you don't take, I'll take. How about that?
Okay.
Dealer's choice.
I'll go with this one.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll go with this one.
I mean, if we're all dabbling, I can't let you go. Boy, I gotta go.
A little sweet, a little savory.
Sweetness? Sure.
Come on, we'll get into it. It's good. Shout out. Who is this on your mom?
Shout out Christmas cookies.
Yeah, my mom makes some really good Christmas cookies.
Yeah, man. Bang them.
Yeah, because I don't really eat the Christmas. I don't really eat like that. The cookies and all.
I'm surprised we're eating a cookie.
And then you come around like Thanksgiving, from like Thanksgiving to Christmas, it's just cookies, dude. It's just like cookies and cakes and all sorts of shit.
Ice cold glass of milk.
Dude, it's bad. Like, she'll bring those over for Christmas, and I'm like, you can't bring those. I'll eat like 50 cookies. You can't bring those cookies. I can't. And then, like, especially if I have a cup of coffee with, I can't do it. It's just nuts.
Well, absolutely.
And you don't realize that I'm just sitting there throughout the day. There'll be like a plate of cookies, there'll be like 10 of them, and throughout the day, you're just like, I'll just take one.
You walk by.
I'll just take
Bro,
one.
when there's donuts.
Are you crying over it?
Yeah, I got
a little bit of
smoke in my eye. Typical episode of, I always get smoke in my eye. I'm always crying. If I'm not crying.
I'll be honest, though. The cookie with the sugar with the cigar.
We're all fucking.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fucking cookies good, bro.
The sugar with the cigar. It's pretty good, man.
For sure.
Pretty good. All right, so.
We're back.
Yeah,
it is a holiday blend.
We listen. You gotta bear with us, all right? Because the train's going one way, but we veer. Man.
We got alternate routes.
Yeah, we go like this.
Listen, I grew up on the New York City subway system. I know what it's all about.
We're always eventually gonna get there, but
That's fine.
So I want to. So how did you get into smoking like once in a while?
Right.
So then you start smoking a lot, and then ultimately you started Cigar Clowns.
Yeah. So basically.
Are you still in the car biz? Are you still doing the car stuff?
No, I work for the utility company in New York City.
Oh, okay.
That's what I did for
Mr. Con Ed guy?
Yeah, 18 years.
Oh,
yeah.
My grandfather was a Con Ed guy.
Was he?
A lineman.
Did you get me a discount on PSE&G?
I can't get a discount on. The only thing we get a discount is my cell phone bill for Verizon. I don't get a discount on any other bill.
You know how you get
and it's probably not even a discount because it's probably
no, it's 22%. It's not that bad.
Oh, all right,
it's not that bad.
You know how to get a discount? You'll end up in jail, but you'll get a discount. Magnets. Do you know the magnet trick?
No, I don't.
Don't do this. I'm not advising this.
Nothing.
Don't do this. But back in the day, and you can't do this anymore because you'll go to jail. But back in the day, you used to take magnets because you have your meter, and your meter would run like this.
Yeah.
And people would put magnets on the meter, and the magnet would pull on the and it would slow it down.
No way.
So that it wouldn't rack up as much energy. That's highly illegal.
Highly
I'm not advising you to
It's
do
like
that.
people steal gas. It's the same
I'm just
thing.
saying, like, that's a thing that people did in the day, and now you go thrown in jail for it.
That's
you're robbing, you're stealing. But that was like a thing that used to do. People used to put the magnet on the. I don't even think you can do that anymore because they're so sophisticated.
Well, they have the smart meters and stuff now.
Yeah, it's so sophisticated. But the old meters used to have that little dial, and you used to put that thing in there.
Yeah.
Because if you might have an old meter, you can go out and look at it, and it's constantly spinning. You tick 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 tick. So you used to put the magnets on it. So we're back to cigars.
We're back on track.
Back on track.
Yeah. So growing up in the neighborhood in Brooklyn, the Cigar Clowns originally started with 6 founding members. Two original founding members, and then we had six partners at one time. Now we're down to 3
for Cigar Clowns.
Correct. So growing up in the neighborhood, it was myself, my partner Joe, and our buddy Nicky, and my friend Nicky is actually the one who gave me my first ever premium cigar, which was an Underground by Drew Estate. Because I was smoking acids. I was doing the whole flavor infused stuff. Trying to find my way, like everybody does. And
there's nothing wrong
you
with
got to find your way.
Yeah,
you got to find your way. It's
we
whatever you
about that.
Now I couldn't put an infused cigar in my mouth. Not
we
even
actually
close.
said that infused cigars are kind of like they're good for the industry.
They're good starters
because they help people.
Yes.
Work their way into
the only flavored cigar I will still smoke today is a Drew Estate. What is it? What do they call it?
Tobacco?
No.
Legend? No.
Yeah,
Legends.
Drew Estate by Cigar International. Drew Estate Legend series. That's still a pretty solid one. My dad used to smoke those a lot, and I'm like, you know what? This isn't that bad. It's like a little hazelnut.
Right.
That's about the only exception to the rule.
I'll do it as like a dessert cigar. Like I've had every once in a while. They had these Tatiana made like a chocolate, chocolate one or vanilla one, or who makes one of our former guests, Joey, the cigar host. He sells little like cigarellos, different flavors, and he sells them a lot for like the women that come into his events. They want flavored little tiny sticks. They don't want to smoke a long one. They have these little ones,
right?
And I got the espresso ones. Support. I'm like, let me try these. Right. They're actually pretty good. They're not like little tiny little sticks you want to. They're good, but I'm not.
Every once in a while,
yeah, we're not reaching. That's not the first thing I'm reaching for.
Right.
Occasionally, you get a little.
Yeah,
that's good.
I mean, so the turning point for me was definitely once I smoked that on the Crown, I didn't look back. I was instantly. I mean, I was already a Drew Estate fan at that point, but I mean that just kind of set me on my journey. Which again, we will even with Uckbrain, you can see it on our packaging. We're on the journey to find the perfect stick. So like how my cigar journey started, going back to like again 2003, 2004. And, we used to hang out at my friend Nikki's house. My friend Nikki lived on Staten Island. I was still living in Brooklyn at the time. So was Joe. But we all grew up together. So I know Joe for over 30 years. And so I know Nikki for over 30 years. And I'm a big mob historian. I mean, I grew up in Bensonhurst.
Hey.
I'm big into the, again, I don't condone anything, but
how you
again,
fucking doing?
yeah, how you doing? How you doing?
I like to consider myself somewhat of a mob historian myself.
Yeah, the awe of it and the whole, thing.
You should go back and watch one of the. We had Bill Cotolo Jr. on the show.
Okay.
And we had Chris Colombo on the show.
I saw the Chris Colombo one. That was great. That was a good interview.
Yeah.
That was really good.
I agree. I'm enamored by the whole lifestyle.
Me too.
How they just it was like almost like a body of government.
I went to the mob museum in Vegas, which was unbelievable. I recommend anybody who goes to Vegas to go. It's in the old courthouse in the old part of Las Vegas.
Down in Old Vegas.
Phenomenal.
Oh man, I've been to Vegas.
Phenomenal.
I've been to Vegas so many times.
They have a piece, not to cut you off, but they have a piece of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre wall.
No way.
In the museum with the bullet holes. It's wild. You can listen to wiretaps. They give you they run down the whole scheme with what they did at the skim for the sands that casino was based off of. Like you can listen to wiretaps, and they kind of break down all the different, going through the early days of of the mob with Luciano all the way up through the heyday and the golden age in the 70s. It's if you're into that type of stuff and learning about that type of stuff, it was amazing.
Sure.
They had clothes from mobsters in there that they had gotten. I think they had one of Lucky Luciano's suits. They had one of Capone's suits.
Dude, that's sick.
Real good fedora, like really cool.
I didn't even know that existed.
I don't think I knew that existed either.
I've been to Vegas
unbelievable
over 10 times.
Dude, it's there. It's an old. If it's still open, I'm assuming it's still open. You can look it up. But when I was there in 2012, I think I was there, 2013. That was the last time I was in Vegas.
Dang,
amazing! What an amazing experience.
So you got a little influenced by the whole mob.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I grew up in Bensonhurst. So, it's not like it was hiding under a rock.
Yeah,
it was point
face.
blank. Like we would go up to 18th Avenue, which was the main, which is still the main strip, which still has the San Gennaro feast every year that I went to as a kid, and I took my kids for the first time this year, which was awesome to be able to do, because a lot of the things from my past aren't there anymore, like the diners that we grew up in as kids.
Sure.
They're all gone. I mean, that's one of the reasons too I love Long Island, because there's still diners out here that you can go to.
Dude, I feel like it's the only place.
Some of the best diners.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. They're few and far between. That's how I felt growing up in Brooklyn. It was like, you had Del Rio, you had Vegas Diner. Like, those were the staples that I grew up in, going out and partying at Sound Factory until 4 or 5 in the morning, and then ended up and say, oh, where'd you go tonight? Oh, I see this guy. Hey, Joey, where were you tonight? Oh, I went over here. It's like that nostalgia is gone.
They don't have diners. It's only a New York, a Northeast thing.
Yeah,
you go anywhere else and there's no
diners in the West are like Denny's and Perkins.
No, there's no freaking diners.
No,
like, they don't.
That's their diners.
Whenever we go, like we travel and go, hey, we're gonna go to someplace for breakfast. They go, oh, we'll go. So do you have a diner? Let's go to a diner. There's no diners.
When I lived in Atlanta, there was no diners. I want to go to a deli. No deli.
Right.
I want to get bacon, egg, and cheese sauce.
No. And then you want to get a slice of pizza?
Forget about it.
No.
Even in Connecticut, I lived in Connecticut for a little bit. I was trying to find a bagel spot. No bagel spot. There was one in New Haven, and they scooped the cream cheese with ice cream scoopers.
Really?
They would fucking get your sesame bagel. I'm like,
that's
what?
Not a schmear.
Oh, no fucking schmear. And it was the bagel was disgusting.
Yeah. Do you ever get those places that when you say, can I get a bagel with cream cheese? And it's like you get the bagel and there's like an inch thick.
There's nothing more that pisses me off than that. That fucking drives me crazy.
What the hell is that?
I know.
I went back. I opened it up so at my work truck. I opened it up and I walked back into the bagel store in Queens. I'm like, dude, what? I just paid fucking $6 for this bagel. They like you put butter on this thing. Could you put some cream cheese on this thing for me? Jesus Christ!
You either get no cream cheese whatsoever,
right, or way too much.
Get way too much,
right?
And I go, can I have some bagel with my cream cheese?
Right.
Who's gonna eat all this fucking cream cheese? You're like smearing it off.
It's like the scene from Casino. I want an equal amount of blueberries in each muffin. An equal amount of blueberries. I don't care how you do it. You know how long that's gonna take? I don't care. Just get it done. That's all I want.
This is true.
And I'm a big movie quote guy too.
You're in the right place, brother. You're in the right place.
I think we say it all the time. I think that we could have an entire episode, an entire conversation just movie quotes.
This show might go on for like 5 hours.
As you were talking about catering, I was thinking about Step Brothers. Dale, the empanadas are sweating. It instantly came to my head.
Yeah,
they give you the tools.
Yeah,
right.
They make you your own ball.
Yeah.
I want to make bank, bro.
So basically, it's inevitable. You're walking past. You're in. You're.
Well, I was getting to say, like, going to the neighborhood, and one of my favorite pizzas still to this day is Da Vinci's on 18th Avenue. It's a staple for me. It's the neighborhood pizzeria. They've been there for friggin' 65 years. They've been there for a long time. So they had Cafe Italia across the street. And, you walk by as a kid, hanging out over there. We're at GameStop up there. We go to GameStop and play the games on any new games they had on the system that you'd be able to play in the store and stuff like that. Hey, kid, come here. They give you 50. Go get me a pack of cigarettes and come back. All right, come back. You got it? You good? Keep the change. I'll see you later. That's all. It's like, not that you were directly involved, but, the
little favors.
Again, I don't condone it at all. And I'm sure you guys understand that. But at the end of the day, like, that was the one thing that they did is they protected the neighborhood.
Yeah. 100%.
End of story.
Well, what's his name?
That's it.
They said it in Goodfellas, right? They said the mob was just protection for people that couldn't go to the police. That's all it was. That's all they did. They protected the people. Now, granted, like you said, not condoning that. No. They did a lot of other shit that they shouldn't have done.
Correct.
But that's what it was.
Right. That's what it was.
That's
100% what it was. Absolutely. So anyway, getting back to the story. So we used to hang out at Nicky's house in Staten Island on Friday nights. So his little gimmick thing was like, oh, what do you? He would text you or he'd call you and be like, what do you put in your mouth on Friday night? Oh, a cigar. Oh, you want to hang out Friday night? No, because he thought he was funny. He thought he was a clown. Hence the name.
What are you putting in your mouth?
Yeah, what are you putting in your mouth Friday night? So that was his little thing. So we used to hang out, and the one thing about us that you'll learn, hopefully we can get Joe here next time when we come, and even Danny. We're the king. Me and Joe are the king of ball breaking. That's what we do.
Right.
That's what we are. If I don't break your balls,
you don't love me.
I don't like you. Exactly. Straight up. If I'm not talking to you, there's a problem because I talk to everybody. Not that I'm a gacchidon by any means of the word. I'm not a washwoman.
You got to break each other's balls.
Break balls. That's all we do all day long on podcasts, on lives, in person, at events. So Nicky was just being a fucking pain in the ass one night. And he's like, he made a comment, and it irks me to this day because I don't remember what the comment was. But I turned around to him. I'm like, oh, what am I, a fucking clown? What am I here to amuse you? He goes, that's what we should call our cigar group. We're a bunch of clowns, a bunch of cigar clowns. So that's where the name came in inception. You're going back to like 2004, 2003, a long time. So the name has been around for a long time.
I like this origin story.
So we used to hang out on Friday nights. That was our thing, whether he would come to Brooklyn or, because he was the only one in Staten Island at the time in his first house. And we would hang out and we would smoke cigars. And, again, I had gotten into the premium cigar, so I found the T52, which I still love to this day, and the Liga series. Listen, I can tell you one.
Pigs, the feral pigs.
Yeah, my favorite is the Velvet Rat.
Velvet Rat.
It used to be the feral, but then it kind of migrated to the Velvet Rat. That is my cigar.
They're all good.
That is my cigar.
Agreed. They're all good. They had the Dirty Rat, the Papas Fritas, which was the tiny one. The L40 was the Lancero.
Yep.
That was good. That whole Liga line was really good.
Yeah. I mean, again, if I had a choice between the 9 and the 52, I'm 52 all day.
I was in Pennsylvania once, and Pennsylvania has a 0% cigar tax, so I was in this middle of nowhere Pennsylvania neighborhood. And my buddy has family over there, and he's like, "Oh, let's go to the cigar lounge." And obviously, I'm into cigars, so I'm looking at all these cigars. I'm like, "Damn, this cigar lounge, this little shop has like a Liga line."
Mm-hmm.
So they had all these feral pigs.
Mm-hmm.
I think the feral pig box was for $150. It was stupid.
Is this when you called me?
Yeah, I called Justin. I'm like, yo, I just bought a box of feral pigs for like $150. You're like, is there any more left? I'm like, yeah. I'm showing him. He's like, yo, give me like 2 or 3 boxes. I'm like, all right, boop, boop, boop. And he's like, I'll send you money right now. Because you never, what they go for in New York? $300, $400, $500.
$75 tax.
If you could find them.
And
I'll tell you right now, I went into a shop in Queens, Harry's Habana Hut.
Sure.
Last week. And he has a couple of ferals in there. They're $37 a stick.
Well, that's like when the Andalusian Bulls came out.
Yeah, the Andalusian Bull.
Those went.
When they were the number 1 cigar of the year, it boosted it up even more.
Gone.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And I remember going in once. This was like obviously before we had our sticks. Now we just always smoke as ours.
Right.
I remember, going in there, and the guy that was in the lounge just said, "Hey, got anything?" He goes, "I got something for you." I was like, "What's that?" He goes, "Hold on." So he goes to the top. He pulls out the box and he opens it's Andalus opens. There's one left.
Ooh.
He goes, "I was saving that one for you because I knew you were going to ask." I was like, and then whatever. I think it was like $50.
Right.
So I was like, "Give me that." He's like, "I knew you were going to ask."
Right.
So I saved it. As soon as I saw it, he's like, "I saved it."
Right.
I was like, "When'd you open that box?" He goes, "I opened it this morning."
Yeah.
I was like, "You opened it this morning?" He goes, "It was gone." And I knew you were coming in after work because it was a Friday. He's like, "I knew you were coming in."
Right.
I saved this one.
Right.
It's a good stick. Very good stick. I can see why it was
absolutely.
It's like 2016, I think.
I think it was either 2015 or 2016.
It was good.
One cigar. Yeah.
So anyway, Cigar Clowns.
Yeah, so I made that comment again, quoting Goodfellas, one of my favorite movies of all time, and probably the best mob movie ever made, besides The Godfather. Because the guy kind of put The Godfather in. It's like it's in the rafters of the garden. It's kind of its own entity.
Godfather, it is.
Yeah, it's its own thing. But I mean, it's definitely one of my favorites besides The Bronx Tale. I would say those are my 2 top favorite of all time. If I had to do Mount Rushmore, I could do
I just
Mount
quoted The
Rushmore.
Bronx Tale today.
Did you?
Goodfellas
today
is
at my job.
We're gonna change your name.
Yeah.
Your name's C.
That's it. See. Cold, you know. Put him in the bathroom.
I say it all the time.
Yeah,
Like,
put him
I
in
don't
the
want
bathroom.
Frank Coffee Cake. I want him looking at my kid
That
throwing
scene,
dice. Dude,
that scene
Put him in the
is
bathroom.
so fucking funny.
Put a towel on.
I don't want his face looking at my face while he's rolling my dice. No.
Right.
Jimmy, go get a towel from the bar. Put
You know
it
why
over
it's
his head.
funny? Because it's true.
Yes.
That's how they were. That's all authentic.
I don't want that. And then they put the big guy in the bathroom. And
Jojo the Whale.
Yeah.
Get him in the bathroom.
Put him in the bathroom. Hey, but there's no room. We got Jojo. I don't care. Put him in the bathroom.
Oh, what is it?
And fun fact, I don't know if you guys know this. Eddie Mush is actually Eddie Mush in the movie.
Yes,
The real guy.
I listened to Chaz talk about that.
Yes.
That movie made him famous.
Yes.
And he wasn't. I don't think he was kind of like a sad guy, or he was a real quote loser in life.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie gave him like his little status. So when he passed away, he was saying like.
Did you hear the story about when he passed away in the funeral?
I was listening to something about Chaz talking about it a couple of weeks ago on Instagram.
Yeah.
Something. I'm not.
So when he died, and they did the funeral, they did the mass, they did the church at Mount Carmel Church up in the Bronx, and when they brought him out and they put him in the hearse, they're getting ready to leave. Fucking flat tire on the thing.
Oh.
Eddie Mush, you fucking kidding me?
I did hear that.
Are you kidding me? Fucking flat tire on there because you wouldn't believe it if I told you.
I love that scene when they go in. They're like, he sits down and they're betting on the horses, and he's like, I need number 7. He's like, you bet. That's it. And he rips him up. He's like, he bet it. That's it. Horse is done.
Yeah, the guy at the window would already hand him his tickets already ripped up.
He's like, that's it.
He bet the horse. He bet kryptonite.
He'd be like,
You've been mushed.
That's it. Everybody throw it.
And everybody uses that term. Anybody who's from here uses that term all the time. Uses that term my whole life.
Oh, no doubt.
All the time.
You know.
No doubt.
And here's a fun fact: my mother is the one who got me into the mob movies as a kid. I watched Bronx Tale for the first time. I think I was maybe 11 or 12 years old, and I was homesick from school. She goes, "You got to watch this movie. You'll like it." All right, watch the movie. I'm like, "This is fucking classic."
So good.
My mother, not my father. My mother.
It's a great movie. I think that Goodfellas is probably one of my all-time favorite movies ever.
All right, so let me cut you off. Let's do this because I like to do this.
Yes, here we go.
Let's do the Mount Rushmore. So let's take The Godfather out of the mix. Like I said,
So
that's in the rafters.
So four.
Top 4. And if you want to throw in a fifth as a consolation, you could throw in a fifth.
So 4 excluding The Godfather.
Excluding The Godfather. That's already in the status of its own. That's Hall of Fame.
And these are mob movies.
Mob movies. No particular order. You don't have to put it 1 through 4.
Goodfellas, Bronx Tale, Scarface.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm probably gonna.
Eric's Googling them to make sure he knows.
I mean, there's
No.
I love Casino. Casino is
sure.
up there,
Yeah.
so that might be the 4.
Okay.
I mean, we got a bunch right there. There's a what's that? What's the not Donnie
Brasco?
Donnie Brasco's another. It's I don't know if that's up. That's top. I'd probably say Goodfellas, Scarface, Bronx Tale, Casino might be.
There's one that I'm Googling it because there's one that I know I'm not saying, but obviously it's Goodfellas and Bronx Tale, but there's one other one it's not coming to me right now.
I mean, there's
it's what the fuck is it?
There's the one with is it Black Mass? Is that the other one?
Black Mass. Okay, yeah, with Johnny Depp.
That's John. That's yeah. I don't know if that's the Boston mob one.
I'm going to give you a movie that not many people talk about that I think is highly underrated. Kill the Irishman.
Kill the Irishman?
Yes.
Well, that's another one. The Irishman is another one. I didn't like The Irishman. Didn't think that was that good.
So I liked it. I think they could have cut the last 40 minutes of the movie out with him being an old man and going through that whole thing.
Yeah,
but I thought the movie itself
Yeah.
was done well. I know a lot of people shit on the Gotti movie with Travolta.
Yeah, I
didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
I thought it was
I didn't like it at all.
I didn't hate it.
I'll tell you this about that movie.
Right.
I was excited about it.
Right.
I actually went to the movie theater by myself.
Did you?
To watch it.
No shit.
As soon as the opening credits came and they started playing Pitbull, I'm like, fuck.
Okay.
I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
Then as I'm watching it, I was upset with the music selection. None of that music should have been. Pitbull was like the theme, and that they had the 4th of July party in the street. They're playing Pitbull. I'm like, they could have hired me to be the music choreographer.
Right. On an iPod.
On an iPod. I was like, I could have picked better songs.
Right.
But the only fun fact about that movie is that once I saw that, my wife was in grad school and she lived in Glen Head on Long Island. And I remember going to see her, and at the light, I looked next to me, and a fucking Range Rover. It's John Gotti Jr. at the fucking street light.
Shit.
So that's my only caveat to the Gotti movie. But yeah, I wasn't. You know, even John Gotti Jr. had the haircut with he had like the 2019 haircut with the buzz cut and the hair on top.
Yeah, the Jersey Shore haircut.
And I'm like, no one had that back
right.
then. Like, so
right.
I thought it was a little bit.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
I didn't hate it.
I was up. I'd put the Gotti and the Irishman in like their.
I like the Gotti movie, like the '96 one. The
with Amonasante.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right, so what's your Rushmore?
So me, it's obviously Bronxdale, Goodfellas, Casino. I would definitely throw Scarface up there. Donnie Brasco is.
That's another one.
I mean, Fugazi. You put
it's a Fugazi.
This is how you do it. You roll them up and
you know who I am.
You roll them up and you put the bean on the outside. Yeah. The bean goes on the outside.
My mother could walk head up in any neighborhood. You know who I am? I'm Lefty Two Guns. That's who I am.
Yeah. I don't know. You got a Fugazi.
You got a Fugazi.
You tell me it's fake. It's a Fugazi. What do you want me to say?
Another good one. It's with what's his face?
Kill the Irishman. If you haven't seen Kill the Irishman,
you know what? I've never.
About the Cleveland Mob.
What about an old one? Angels with Filthy Souls.
Yeah.
That's an old.
Filthy Faces or Filthy Souls?
I think there's two.
I think is that the one with Cagney?
Angels
with Dirty Faces. I think is Cagney.
There's Dirty Faces and Filthy Souls. I think. Which one was which?
The what's the other one?
It was 1938.
The Drop. You ever see The Drop?
No.
That's with Gandolfini.
Okay.
And who the fuck's in The Drop? It's not. It's more about the Irish, the Russian mob.
Okay.
But Gandolfini, and who the fuck is the other guy in it?
So it's Angels with Dirty Faces.
Angels with Dirty Faces.
The actual movie,
right?
And then Angels with Filthy Souls. Is the fictional movie that shows up in Home Alone.
Okay.
When he's like,
yeah.
He's like, you were sleeping with my brother.
I'm going to count to 10.
Yeah.
1, 2, 10.
Yeah, but that was like it was based on like the Angels of Dirty Souls.
Right.
Like I don't think they could use Dirty Souls to use Filthy, or Dirty Faces to use Filthy Souls.
Tom Hardy and James Gandolfini, The Drop. James Gandolfini, I think he owns the bar, and The Drop, his bar is The Drop, where they drop the money and the mob comes up and picks up shit, and Tom Hardy's like the neighborhood kid, and something happens, and I forgot the whole storyline, but it's a good movie.
You know, it's a good one. It's not necessarily mob based, but it's kind of in that same realm. Is Tom Hardy Lawless? You ever seen the movie Lawless? When he's a moonshiner.
Yeah. Okay.
Back in like the early 1900s.
Right.
That's a good movie. It's not mob, but it's they're doing illegal shit.
Yeah, it's local.
It qualifies.
Local shit. Yeah,
qualifies. Let's just say it qualifies.
Yeah, I would say. I'm trying to think of all the other ones.
Have you seen Gravesend?
So I have I haven't gotten to get to Gravesend yet, but I have it in my watch list. But yes, it's definitely something I've heard very good things about.
We had a couple when we had Will DeMayo on, and then Chris
sign right up there.
Yeah, Chris Mormando from the show on here. But when you watch the first season, it was during COVID. So there's only like 4 episodes.
Yes.
And the production was a little bit But the second season, very good.
Yeah, it's
very
good.
It's
in the lineup for me.
And then now he's making the 3rd season, and that's got Shaq in it, James Harrison.
Dude. Yeah, I heard.
A lot of big names in it.
Another one. American Gangster with Denzel.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude, that's a really good one.
Yes, I agree.
That's a really, really good one.
I agree.
I feel like there's one other one that I'm
You
thinking
blot
of.
that shit. That's alpaca. You blot that shit. Take the sunglasses off.
Yeah.
I can't think of it.
That's a $20,000 alpaca.
Yeah, you blot that shit.
There's one I know I'm thinking of. I'm trying to think of, but I can't remember. It's going to come to me after we record this. But, I mean, the top 2 for me are obviously Goodfellas and Bronxdale.
Yeah, if I had
what
to put
about
it in order,
what about now this one I haven't seen actually. There's Legend is the other good one with Tom Hardy.
Okay.
That's where his twin with his brother, he plays him.
Okay.
There's The Gentleman.
Okay.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I heard that one's really good. That's with Matthew McConaughey. American Hustle was a good one.
Yes,
that's with Christian Bale, where he gained like.
Yes.
That's not really a mob movie, though.
I mean, they're in like, kind of in the same, and the other one that's not really a mob. Well, Heat is another good one too.
Yeah.
But another one I don't know if it's more of like a heist. Is The Town?
Yeah.
The Town. Yeah.
There's always something I quote from that one. He's just like.
What's the one? What's the other country? What's the one with Depp does the gangster from Boston? Why with Whitey?
I think that's Black Mass.
That's Black Mass.
That's Johnny Depp.
Yeah, she said that earlier. Okay.
But the one from The Town, he's like, I need your help. I can't tell you what it is, but you can never ask me about it later. We're gonna hurt some people. Whose car we taking? I use that. Like I always say that to people. I'm like, listen, you don't need a million friends.
Right.
You need four motherfuckers that will do that for you.
Yeah.
You got 4 guys that'll do that for you. Even if you had one guy, if you have one friend like that,
right.
friend for life.
What's the movie with 50 Cent where he takes the kid who's coming to get his daughter and he brings him into it's all the homeboys and all the gangsters in there?
That's
What movie is that? Now you're talking about guys who are going to ride and die with you?
It's funny because they're not even like gangbangers.
Yeah.
Dudes.
Yes.
Yeah, I know that movie.
Is that the show or is that the movie? Because if it's the movie, it's I thought it was the movie The Den or something like that.
Let me holler at him for a second.
Yeah, let me holler at you for a minute.
My daughter has been my sole priority for the last 16 years. And now I got to give that to you.
Yep.
Don't bring her home.
Yeah, Den of Thieves.
Den of Thieves.
That's what
Great scene.
Ice Cube Jr.
I feel like you only need one or two really good quotable things to come out of a movie that will put that movie over the top, even if the movie's not superb. You know what I mean?
The Gotti the Gotti movie with Armand Assante, I feel like that one gets overlooked a lot. That's a really good one too.
There's a lot. See, like you start looking into it, there's a lot more that you forget. Like we forgot about American Gangster.
Yes.
There's the Bugsy. Bugsy's a good one.
Bugsy.
That's an old one.
Oh, the Untouchables.
Yes.
Better than us.
There's a lot you forget.
And De Niro as Capone.
And if you want to go into more, and it's not even so much like you get into these kind of like these heist movies too. You go back into like The Sting. With Paul Newman, and one
of my dad's favorite movies.
With Paul Newman, I think it's Robert Redford as well. And then the other guy who plays Lonigan. Is that who I think it is? Oh, who did you did? Oh, cool. Sounds good.
Cool.
Just got the.
Thanks.
You got lemon chicken and potatoes for dinner.
That's Jamie. That's our Jamie of the podcast studio.
Yeah, so I mean, there's like, and you go into some of those movies like Paul Newman or The Hustler. They're not really mob movies, but they still got that same feel of like that little deception kind of. And The Sting is a lot of those that are classic movies.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorites. I love The Hustler.
I
love
don't
The
think
Sting.
you really, everyone's gonna say this, but you really can't get past The Godfather, Goodfellas, and Bronx Tale.
All right, now here's the question.
Here's the question.
Yeah. Which is the best Godfather?
First one.
Leave 3 out of it because I think 3 is the worst.
You want the real answer?
Is it 1 or 2?
No, it's the saga.
The saga?
You never seen the Godfather saga?
No.
It's where they put it in chronological order.
Oh.
Must watch.
Oh.
That's the best way to watch The Godfather.
You mean just watch it in order?
No. They have a series called The Saga. If you look it up, you can Google it right now. It's called The Godfather Saga. And they take 1 and 2 and they actually put it in chronological order from when Vito was a young man. From the beginning of the movie.
It?
Correct. And they put it in chronological order all the way through.
All right, well, that's got to be the best because it's tough. 1 and 2 is tough.
3 is terrible.
3 is not. Did you know the scene in when what's his name wakes up and he's got the horse head?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that's an actual horse head?
That I do know.
They tricked. They switched it.
Yeah.
And his reaction is
a real reaction.
Real reaction.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be a prop.
Yep.
And somebody got like from a book.
How the fuck?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, this is back in. You probably can't do that now.
No animals were harmed during the filming of The Godfather.
Right, but
besides this one,
I heard the story. I heard the story that it was a real, like horse's head.
Yeah.
And he
I've heard that too.
Freaked out.
Yeah.
Freaked out. The blood, everything.
I think we all would.
Oh,
dude.
Fuck yeah.
Now, I mean, obviously you can't do that now. There's no way. I
wouldn't silk sheets, bro.
I wouldn't do that anyway.
Flopping around everywhere.
Sheets.
But crazy, dude.
Yeah, that's a fun fact. That is a fun fact.
Johnny Fontaine doesn't get that movie. There's olive oil skin and his guinea charm.
You know, I wonder.
I have olive oil skin.
Well, it's all the way.
If in the Mob Hall of Fame, I wonder if Marlon Brando's mouthpiece is in there.
I think that it's somewhere.
Because
I
know
it's
technically
somewhere.
Part of the mob, but it's a mob movie.
I believe
and he had a mouthpiece.
Yeah, prosthetic. Time. I think it might be in what's the big museum down in Virginia or DC? What's the national?
It's got to be in there.
Is it called? It's somewhere
because that's iconic.
That's why it's definitely somewhere.
Oh, he's got a picture right there. Look, his jaws
the Smithsonian.
His jaws all protruded.
It might be in the. It might be in the.
Eric, right behind you, over your right shoulder. You can see his jaw is so protruded. He had a mouthpiece in there.
I know. It's wild.
It like pushed his jaw out.
Yeah. They gave him that iconic voice.
My buddy from
the Many Saints of Newark.
That's my favorite gesture in the entire movie. It's when he's sitting there in the beginning, he's just
it's kind of like
all this. That was my grandfather. It was all
my buddy from Rochester named his dog after Marlon Brando. Named his dog Marlin. I was like, where do you come up with Marlin from? I was like, Marlin. He goes, no, Lon. I was like, he goes from Marlon Brando, the Godfather. It's like, it's like that's sick. He calls him Marley.
I mean, we had some sick. I mean, you said you listened to the Chris Colombo episode. We had some sick stories about where he talked about his father getting involved. You know, I read that before, but to actually hear it from no pun intended, the horse's mouth, about that was pretty, pretty fun.
That was a good one.
I love whenever you watch some of these movies, and if you get them, they don't really do them as much anymore, but when you watch them on AMC, they had some of these like fun facts that would pop up as you're watching them.
Yeah,
I love reading some of those.
That's the only thing that's good about it, because you can't watch Goodfellas on AMC because the whole movie's curses.
all cut off.
So
I'll still
everything's
do it.
bleeped. I know.
I'll still do it.
I know. It's hard.
You know, it was pretty wild to me that, you know, I've been in, I just took a passion for that whole lifestyle.
Right.
And then now, since I have this podcast for the last 5.5 years, to have guys that were involved in that,
Right.
it was like, I was like, how the fuck how did this happen? Like, it's
full
weird.
circle.
It's one of those things that's like, that comes to fruition. Like, you think about it, you do it, you think about it.
I'm a firm believer in meant to be, man. You got to tell me.
Because we had Billy Cotolo. Billy Cotolo was the son of Wild Bill Cotolo. And we got him because he would leave all these comments on all our pages.
Right. Yeah, like really wild comments.
He not even wild.
Not wild, but like
a lot of emojis.
Noticeable.
Really like
noticeable.
Like, he'd be like, "Oh, this stuff is great. Love you guys," and put like all these. I'm like, "Who the fuck?"
He's like that. He's like that one family member that just doesn't know how to not like. You would put a Merry
uncle?
Christmas and put like every emoji possible.
The uncle just figured out what emojis are.
Yeah, exactly. My uncle's like that.
So I was like,
and there's always an American flag in there too.
I was
like,
sure.
Patriotic.
How did this? I'm like, who is this? So when I first looked at him, I was like, oh, it's like some Italian guy from Florida who loves cigars all the time. And then he kept commenting, and I looked at him, I'm like, oh, he was on a show on MTV, and I was like, oh, it's interesting. And then he commented like, when am I going to be on the show? And I was like, oh shit, all right,
whenever you want.
Yeah, whenever you want, sure.
Right.
And I remember on St. Patty's Day, I had a conversation with him for like 40 minutes to like just like chop it up, like kind of do a preliminary podcast setup, and it was just like talking to him like in 1980. He was like, I'm still not really used to like talking on the cell phone. He's like, I'm an open book, you know, just don't talk about like, you know, who killed this person, who killed that person. I'm like, I don't need to know that.
Right.
And then and his father was killed on Long Island in Farmingdale.
Okay.
So
in the industrial park over there is where they buried him.
Industrial park in Farmingdale, and it's hysterical because I used to be over there.
Right.
And I remember parking there, and I'm like, this is like a weird, because it's an industrial park, all these offices, and then like there's this woods, and there's a trail that goes into this woods. And I remember parking in front of it, and I'm like, man, this is so weird. So as I was researching him and watching YouTube videos, because all these people that would like, they like go to like mob grave sites,
right?
And this one person did a segment on Bill Cotolo, and I'm like, wait, I've fucking been to this place, and it's like it's the same spot. So I remember I drove there back again, and that's where his body was. That's where they found him like a couple years later.
No shit.
And it was just like a weird like crossing paths of like not knowing and being in the right place at the same time.
Right.
It was really.
Well, it's like when they raided Jimmy Conway's house from Goodfellas, the real Jimmy Conway, and they were digging up his freaking basement and his driveway looking for bodies.
Yeah.
Sick.
And that's nuts.
Sick.
Well, it's like another in Goodfellas, the guy at the end of the scene, at the end of the movie, the guy who when Henry Hill is backing out his car,
right,
and the guy that stops him, that was the real guy. That was the actual guy that stopped him. He played that role.
Yeah. So was it in the lawyer, the lawyer too, who put him into witness protection, was the real prosecutor.
Real guy.
Yeah.
The guy was like, "Don't you move! I'll blow your fucking
head off."
That was him.
Yeah.
That was the guy that actually did it.
Well, he's in Gravesend. That guy.
Yeah.
He's in a bunch of movies.
What are we doing? We making a cake?
Yeah.
We making a cake? What do you got? Anything good?
Dude, I always use the line when she goes, "I gotta go home. I gotta get my hat." And he's like, "What do you mean? We gotta tape this to your leg. We gotta go get your fucking hat." And she's like, "I won't fly without it. I'm not gonna go home." And then they're like, "All right, fine." So then they're leaving, and Karen goes, "A hat?"
Yeah.
I do that all the time. Whenever it's just like, whenever somebody says hat, I'm like, "A hat? A hat?"
No. So many.
She's
so
sitting
many
there. She's all like fucked up, and she's
yeah,
a hat.
I flushed it down the toilet. That was worth $60,000.
That money.
That's all we had. That's all we got.
Karen.
Why would you do
great
that?
quotes from that movie.
Oh,
when she
so many.
Dude,
so
she tosses his keys out the window. Now
Yeah.
you're not going. I'm still gonna go out.
Now you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna go out. Which one?
I love Goodfellas and where they live, because where my grandparents lived in Lindenhurst, that was, I'm pretty sure that's what it was like, shot in Lindenhurst, because that's how
Five Towns, Lindenhurst.
that's how all the houses looked in Lindenhurst. I'm like,
Right.
this has got to be Lindenhurst. And
No, fun fact. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but the house that my grandfather owned in Limbrook, okay? The scene where the FBI agents come to see Karen when she has the little baby and they're going through the house.
Yep.
That's the exact same house that my grandfather owned. The exact same setup. Everything to a T. That's the house.
Like,
and it was
you
in
guys want
Lynbrook.
some coffee or something?
Yeah,
Like, you know.
yeah. I mean, I offer them coffee.
Sign
Dickie
anyway?
Conway spits on them when they come in the door.
Yeah, I never understood that.
Understood
And
that.
the
She
scene,
spit on her own floor.
and the scene now with the whole drone thing going on. The scene with the helicopters where they go shopping. That's a strip mall in
That's the
Staten
same
Island.
one. That's
Oh,
the same.
really?
We gotta get to you. We gotta get to your mothers. We gotta get to your mothers.
That's a strip mall in Staten Island, actually, where I used to live, up right by the Staten Island Mall. That was a little strip mall right outside the Staten Island Mall. That's where they filmed that scene right
That's
there.
wild.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
See, I can go for days. on
Days.
movies like
yeah.
this.
You can talk
Days.
because there's so many like they've influenced everything. Like
Yeah.
you hear these little mob stories. Like
Yeah.
even my grandfather. My grandfather, he was at a funeral once. One of his buddies died, and it was a big funeral. And they were like, "Hey, his name's Dan. Hey, Dan, can you just man the door and just like make sure whoever comes in? Yeah, sure." And this one guy comes with a couple guys, nice jacket, nice suit, and everyone's kind of in awe. My my grandfather's like, "What the fuck? Who is it?" And they're like, "You know what that is?" He's like, "No." He's like, "That's Joe Gallo." And I was like, because I
C-A-L-O.
one day I was like, "Grandpa, you ever like have any like mob stories?" Because he's like 85 years old, and he's like, "No, not really." I don't know what prompted me to ask like an 18-year-old. He's like, "Well, the only story is this is the story." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "That's pretty." He's like, he came in, he had a big envelope, he gave it to I guess the wife or whoever.
Right.
He signed his name on the book, and he was in and he was out. And I was like, "Huh, that's pretty fucking
Joey
cool."
Gallo? I'm not Joey Gallo. I'm Joey Callo. C-A-L-L-O. That's another good one. Not really mob movie, but another
My cousin Vinny, yeah, that's
Yeah,
another
great
good one.
My cousin Vinny. Yeah.
Man, that was a fucking tangent.
Yeah.
I know.
What are we even talking? How do we
I don't
even
know.
get over
We're at
that?
an hour and 9 minutes.
Yeah.
How
Do
the
you
hell
wanna
do we even get over here?
Do you want to keep going? You want to take a break? You want to push through it?
I mean, I don't need to take a break unless you do.
I have to take a piss.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, if you're gonna take a piss, I'll take a fucking piss.
I guess we're all taking a
all right,
piss.
let's take. We're gonna pause and we'll come back and
Yeah,
take.
fuck it. We'll
I
take a
really.
piss.
I gotta
Take
go.
a piss.
Yeah, let's go. I'm in.
Pee time.
Yeah. PP time.
All right. Are you gonna just let it run?
Yeah, just let it run. Fuck it.
Let it run. You edit it later.
Yeah. We just hired. I mean, we hired an editor now like 6 months ago in Macedonia.
Macedonian. Got a buddy of mine that I work with who's Macedonian. Great people.
And because it used to take us forever.
Oh, I'm sure.
When we first started. What I want to ask now, we've just mobbed out for like 30 minutes, right?
Not wrong with that.
But boutique cigar owner, brand owner, right?
Correct.
How did you break yourself into the industry? How did you grow your company? Because I'm selfishly just want to know, because for us, you know, I always like to hear from people in the industry how they grow their brand, how they get
People helping people.
which we say all the time is in the cigar industry, you really don't get that too often in a lot of different industries. I can't be like, "Hey man, what's your secret sauce? Like how do you grow your brand?" You know?
I can't give you the secret sauce, but I can give you some insight.
What's the generic secret sauce, you know? But yeah, you know, it's just how did you grow your brand? How did you get into it?
Yeah, because you said you had 37, and this could
37, 38 lines.
inside of
Cigars.
Cigars.
We have core lines now, so like we'll get into it, but like now we're into the part where we've gotten our core lines, but there's obviously the backstory to get to that point.
Because you said during COVID, that's when really things kicked off. So
that's a lot. 37 individual blends within 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Well,
That's
knowing what the cost is for our two cigars, and we only have what do we have?
It's like 8 a year.
We did 4 and 5 or 5 and 5 each, 5,000 cigars each. You know, I can only imagine. Would you say 10,000 for one was a limited release?
That's a limited run for us. Yeah.
So
tell us the whole thing about how
Maybe-
you get into this, where they're made and what's not.
Maybe we need to do a BDP Cigar Clowns. cigar.
We definitely do.
Hey,
I mean, before we get into the gist of it, this is your first Cigar Clowns experience. How are we doing so far?
Well, I'll tell you, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't smoke it all the way down here.
Well,
Okay.
I think it also enhances the experience when you're with one of the owners.
And I gotta say, listen, it's
been great so far.
So before we get into that, I'll tell you. So this is how we came up with a rating system. Okay, and
I like rating systems.
this is what we had done for our.
I mean, the first thing about a cigar is the draw, right? So the draw
That's one thing
is immaculate.
we strive.
You
So
wanna
here it
make
is.
sure you get ample amount of smoke, nice full clouds. That's like
I think we coined the phrase "dragon clouds." I think we should copyright it at this point. That's what we started. Yeah.
So we came out with 10 categories.
Okay.
And then each category is weighted a little bit differently.
Okay.
But there's the look, feel, the size of it, right? There's the smell,
Right.
the cold draw, the first third, second third, third third, the finish, the draw, the smoke output, the burn,
Right.
or the ash, how it's constructed.
Right.
The cold draw and the finish are everything's rated out of 10.
Okay.
Except cold draw and finish are rated out of 8.
Okay.
And then first, second, and third are rated out of 12. So if you add those all up, you get to 100 points.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got a 45 in math my senior year, so I need a calculator.
So like you go through all these things.
engineer.
Yeah, so
There
we
you
would
go.
go through all these things, then we
Right.
come out with a rating.
Right.
But I'll say, like, So overall look, it's great. Feels good. I like it. It's a good size.
Feels good in the hand.
The construction's fantastic. The burn is fantastic. The flavors are good. I will say it paired
very well with the cookies.
Surprisingly well with the cookies.
Good call.
Okay.
Good call.
That little sweetness, because this is Nicaraguan puro, so it's definitely spicy.
Right.
So you get the sweet and the spicy. It's really good.
Right.
I'm enjoying every and I haven't had to relight it a lot.
Yeah.
I just relit it now. I touched up a little bit, but again, that's no fault to the cigar maker. That's like sometimes it's
just name of the game.
It just happens.
Yeah, it's true.
But
so I want to know.
Phenomenal.
I want to know like the day you're like, fuck it, we're making a cigar brand.
Right.
This is the day.
Right.
We're doing it.
Right. So to basically go off what I was telling you earlier with, hanging out in Nikki's backyard, we kind of, did the Facebook group thing, hung out with our friends, did the like lounging. Because again, I kind of always go into the fact that like with us is we started as consumers and we're still consumers at the end of the day. I'm a huge Drew Estate fan. I can literally sit I've been to many events that Jonathan Drew's been at, and I can listen to that man talk about tobacco for 4 hours. Yeah. Like it's just like it's enamoring to listen to him speak about tobacco. And he's also, I consider him to be a role model for me. Like he was kind of the influence for me personally, not talking about my partners, but me personally. I'm like, it's just people don't realize who aren't in the cigar industry and who aren't cigar smokers. There are people who smoke cigars. And there are people who are cigar smokers. We're cigar smokers. We smoke cigars on a regular basis. There are people who go and get their 10-pack of, not Monte Cristo. Oh my God, what the hell is it? Doesn't matter. Like a cheaper cigar, and they go to a golf outing, they smoke half of it, and they toss it. Yeah. Well, you're going to go out to a golf course. Not that I golf, but that you go out to a golf course and you're going to smoke a cigar. That's what you do. So we're cigar smokers.
I'm smoking 3 in a round.
Right. And sometimes I smoke 5 a day, 6 days. Sometimes there's 3. It depends. But again, so for us, it's like we did the whole hanging out thing, hanging out with the friends. We would go out to, Drew Estate Barn Smoker. We would go to Cigar Fest every year. We would frequent lounges all the time. We would do all that stuff. And that's kind of built my love and admiration for the leaf. Because again, we love the leaf, right? That's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's all about
lovers
what we're
of
smoking.
The leaf, baby.
Right, lovers of the leaf. So fast forward a couple of years to 2018. We decided, and at the time it was still myself, Joe, and Nikki at the time, and we decided in 2018 that, no, I'm lying. 2018, no, Steve. So the original 6 partners in the business are myself, Joe, Nick, Danny, Bart, and Steve Murphy. So to kind of give you a little bit of background on them, Steve works with me. Well, he doesn't work with me now currently, but he works with me. I got him from work. Danny, I tell everybody as a joke, I want him over in my divorce. He was on the other side. He was actually my ex-wife's brother's best friend. But we, over the years, through cigars, developed our relationship. We would hang out on our own, like we would hang out with the group, and we developed our own bond. So like, and I'm very humbled by that because, he's still to this day one of my best friends. And obviously he's my business partner. Same thing with Joe. Nick, I told you, we know from the neighborhood. Bart worked with Nicky in his personal life. They worked for the DOE in the city. So they brought him along, and it was, we kind of sat down as a collective, and I said, we'll get to that. But, again, 2018, like, let's, there's this local place in Raleigh, New Jersey. God forgive me, I forget the name of it, that blends cigars, Dominican cigars. So let's make a cigar. Give it out to friends and family for the holidays, all the people we hang out with, it's like a little group Facebook thing. So we did that, we already had the name. And if you look, I can actually show you, where the hell is it? The Tilly Clown on the right.
The Coney Island logo.
The Coney Island Clown was our original logo when we first started. Paying homage to being from Brooklyn, clowns, that was the most famous clown, right? We all went to Coney Island as kids. So
Don't go now.
Yeah. Actually, it's not bad. I took the kids there in the summertime. It's not terrible. Not as bad as it used to be in the 90s and the early 2000s where it was really shitty. And they're actually starting to build it up a little bit. So we went with the Tilly Clown, and that was the first logo that we put on a band for the cigar that we put out. And
did you get any like copyright issues with that?
So that's why we decided when we were going to go full scale that we wanted to kind of have our own entity, and we want to use it because again, I mean the logo is 100 years old. There's probably no copyright infringement on it. I would think at this point because Asbury Park uses the exact same clown for their theme down in Jersey. So like but we sat there, we talked, we really want to deal with God. It was small. I mean maybe because we're small, we won't get our balls broken about it, whatever the case may be, but. So then the urban legend in the Cigar Clowns community is that the logo looks like me. I don't see it, but because I came up with the logo design.
I mean, it's the beard.
Yeah, it's the beard. That's what people say. And again, just to talk about the logo real quick, and the logo that we ended up finalizing and coming up with is that I've always been a big fan of art. I'm tattooed. I got tattoos I'm tattooed everywhere. And I've always loved the Chicano art. And it kind of goes back to
Chicano.
Chicano. That's the Chicano art. That's the California thing with the fedora and the Mexican clown paint and stuff like that. I was always fascinated by that art style. The Paisa, which was a cigar that we did in our early infancy, that's the sticker. That was kind of one of the Chicano art as a female that I love. It's just that it's very subtle. It's not overbearing. It kind of has just very subtle little things and with the color and stuff like that. And it was always black and white. I mean, you've seen some color and stuff like that. But that's kind of where I got the inspiration for the logo to come up with the logo to make our own. So 2018, we put out the cigar. And it was cool. That was fun. Facebook little thing. Little group hangout stuff like that. It's cool. So, we just left it at that, and we just kind of, it was a cool thing. We didn't really think much of it and stuff like that. So fast forward to 2020, COVID hits, and we know how bad the pandemic was, and people like me never stopped working. We continuously worked, and what we would do every night, literally every night, because there was no sports on, we were locked down, and all of us are blue collar guys. Joe owns his own business. Nikki and Bart work for the DOE. Danny's works for the elevator union as a professional, and Steve worked with me at Edison.
Just a couple blue collar guys.
Blue collar guys from New York. Steve's from Long Island. Danny's originally from Staten Island. Now lives in Jersey. I'm out here. Joe is in Breezy Point in Queens, and Nikki's on Staten Island. Bart was in Staten Island. So we would get on Zoom calls. That was kind of like when Google Duo first came out. It was the early infancy stage. So we weren't even using Google Duo, which is now Google, whatever the hell it is.
It's Google.
It's like FaceTime.
For
Google. I'm a Google guy. I'm not an Apple guy. So we would all be able to get on. Since I'm usually the one who always got yelled at because I'd never had an iPhone in my life.
You're the guy with the green bubble, screwing everything up.
I'm the green bubble guy. I'm the green bubble guy.
Bubble.
I'm the green bubble guy. Yes, that's me.
First world problems.
Yeah, first world problems. I went from Nextel to freaking Google. But anyway, I miss those. Remember those days? I miss those days. I had the original first Nextel that came out. So anyway, we would every night we would herf. Every single night, 7 days a week, we'd all come home from work. We'd decide, who would be sitting in their shed, who would be sitting in their backyard, who would be doing whatever. We would talk. So we were kind of, I think Joe brought it up, and he's like, we made that cigar back in 2018. There's nothing really going on right now. Like, we know a lot of people in the industry. We've made a lot of connections. We've gone to all these events. We know people in the industry. Let's reach out and see if we can, we can do something. Let's see if for shits and giggles. So fast forward, we had a connection with a factory down in Nicaragua, and this is the phase of the Cigar Clowns that we did, like the bootlegging thing. We did the Jonathan Drew thing, like selling cigars out of the back of the trunk, right?
Yeah, that's how you got to do it.
That's how we did it, like that old school, like we're bootlegging cigars. Yeah. We don't give a shit. We're throwing labels on it, like whatever. So we found a factory down in Nicaragua that had an allotment of 500 cigars that was sitting there. I guess it was a blend that whatever cigar brand didn't take it, or it was something missing that they didn't like, or whatever the case may be. I'm like, all right, set it up. We'll test it out. We'll see how it is. It was great. Loved it. So like, all right, let's get bands made up. Joe has a little printed thing, little paper bands and stuff like that. And we put the Tilly Clown on the logo as the first, band for the cigar. It was a yellow band. And we gave it out to our friends and family. We didn't sell it. We gave it out. We smoked it. People like, oh, it's great. Well, where'd you get this? They were telling the story. Yeah, COVID, stuff like that. And then, not many people don't know this, but even during the early phases of 2019 into 2020, there were a lot of lounges, especially when COVID went full scale. There were a lot of lounges that were doing like speakeasy type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah, we're closed, but if you knew the owner,
you go through the back door.
You go through the back door and upstairs, and you hang out.
The secret knock.
They'll let you hang out and stuff like that. So yeah, we did that whole thing. Me and Joe did that a lot. We had a place in Brooklyn that we would go to all the time that we would do that. But and we sat down after that on one of our daily herfs, and we were like, people are loving this thing. Do we want to fucking really get involved in the cigar industry since we love it so much? And back and forth, and then we decided, if we're gonna go full scale into this, we're not putting feet in the water. We're jumping in the water. Like we're getting
going in,
copyrighted. We're doing the whole nine. Sit down. We had a big meeting at my buddy Bart's house. I remember, even though it was during the pandemic, but we got 6 feet apart, all that bullshit. And we said, let's go full scale until
6 feet apart as you guys are blowing smoke in each other's face, right?
Yeah. Basically eating pizza. Yeah. Passing plates around. Yeah, that whole shit. So we.
Can you believe that we don't mean to cut you off. Believe that we actually did that shit.
Yeah, Crazy, isn't it? You think about it now, it's like
You're like, we are stupid.
really weird.
Dumb.
I had my birthday party like that. I think it was my 30th birthday. People came over, and they were just like, "Oh, we took I remember there's a picture of me and my stepdad 6 feet apart like this." I'm like, bunch of idiots.
So stupid.
All right, well, there's pictures of us when me wearing bandanas going to Trader Joe's, line out the door because everyone's 6 feet apart waiting to get in the grocery store. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Dude, so well, he's lighting that up. There was a story. Speaking of Vegas, we were talking about Vegas earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Vegas, and this was when they started kind of loosening a little bit of the restrictions.
Right.
And they said, now in Vegas, you could like smoke anywhere in this casinos, right? Now there's like certain areas, but they said, all right, if you're smoking a cigar, you can't be standing up. You have to be sitting down. I was like, okay. So like I was standing up in the sports book. They, sir, you have to sit down. I'm like, really? Like I can't stand here, but I have to sit here.
Right.
So I went over to a table, and that's when they had the plexiglass, right? And I sit at the table,
stupid,
and they also said they go when you're not smoking, you have to put your mask up.
Shut
I'm like,
up.
so I sit down at the table. This is a true story. I sit down at the table, and I have my mask on. I go, can I smoke at the table? They go, yeah. Okay. Take my mask off. I light up my cigar. I'm puffing on my cigar, and my cigar's down like this. I'm playing, and they go, sir, when you're not smoking, you have to put your mask up. And I go, hold on, let me see if I understand this. Okay, maybe I'm a little fucked up right now. I can smoke and blow smoke all over the table because this plexiglass ain't doing shit. It'll go under. It goes everywhere.
Right.
But when I'm into everybody's face. But when I'm not smoking, I got to put my mask up to protect everybody.
Right.
He goes, yeah, that's the rule. I said, does that make any fucking sense
No.
to you? He's like, I'm sorry, sir, that's the rule. Okay, understood. The rest of the time, I played cards like this. Mask down, cigar out. They go, sure, you got to go.
We're smoking. Yeah.
I'm smoking.
Right.
The whole time. Cigar in the mouth, smoking the whole time.
Right.
Didn't have the mask on. And I'm like, listen, it's your world. I'm just living in it, okay? These are your rules. I'm playing by them. That's what you said. This is what I'm doing. Right. And they go, shut up. Just deal the cards.
Ridiculous.
That's it.
Make no sense. Now,
so
if I stand up and I walk from here to the sports book,
right,
I can't smoke my cigar. I got to put my mask up. But when I get to the sports book, I can sit down, take my mask. I'm like, this makes no sense.
Right.
Makes no sense.
Right.
So anyway.
Dumb.
Very dumb.
Back to your little meeting.
So yeah, we had the meeting and we thought about it and we had the connection down in Nicaragua. Like, all right,
this was the same one that gave you the 500.
This is the second one that we came out with was from the same
manufacturer.
the same farm. Yeah. So yeah, we're like, fuck it. Well, let's do it. People want it. They're asking about it. We'll source it through our Facebook and stuff like that, and we'll start doing this shit, and we'll start doing the cigar thing. So, what I could say is as horrible as the pandemic was, because it was horrible. A lot of people, unfortunately passed away. For us, I could say two things. One, we might not even be here around if it wasn't for COVID, because maybe we don't sit down and we don't come up with that idea. Or maybe it could be happening now and not back then.
True.
And, I can say that for us, I feel like we're one of the success stories out of a horrible period of time in our nation's history and then through the world that, we were able to put, I think over the past couple of years, and I think you guys can see this too, being a part of the industry, there's been a big surge in cigars, and especially in the industry, a lot of brands have come out and stuff like that. A lot of brands have come out and tried to do the thing that we did, and you don't see them around anymore. They kind of, they dissipated, and, we're still, striving. Listen, it's still a grind for us every day that we don't get it twisted. But yeah, I mean, we started to roll and put out a couple of releases, started to create a little bit of a buzz, created an Instagram account, which I'm proud to say that this day we have almost 5,000 followers on Instagram, all organic, didn't buy any followers, started from zero.
Let's get them to 10. Let's get them to 10. Yeah, everybody go check them out. Follow them right now.
Yeah, Cigar Clowns on Instagram. And Facebook, we already had the Facebook page, which has about almost 3K, I think, at this point.
You remember when getting to 10, you could do the links? Remember that was like a big thing.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing, and now everybody could do the links.
The day I hit 10,000 followers was my birthday. The next week, they got rid of the link thing. Everyone has a link now. Yeah. I'm like, fucking A, I worked so hard to get
I don't think there's anything you can that you can't do now.
Yeah.
But see, the good part about it then is Instagram was great because they didn't regulate shit. Now they regulate everything.
You know what you got to do?
We've been recently talking about this a lot.
Yeah,
you know you got to go?
Don't get me started because we could talk about that for an hour.
Go to
let's talk about
it.
It drives me nuts.
Go to X.
Yeah.
Because X is
I thought about it. Yeah.
I mean, now you have to grow organically,
right?
But it's not regulated. You can
right.
post whatever you want.
Yeah,
I can literally post, "You should go smoke this cigar," and they'll be fine.
Yeah, we're banned from you're banned from boosting posts and anything related to cigars, and
you got to be careful too, because there's a thing now that we found we struggle with.
Right.
If you go into your Instagram account,
right,
and you go to
let's look it up.
Just go to your Instagram account, and if you go into your profile,
right,
there is in your professional dashboard, you click the professional dashboard. If you're a professional profile, if you're not, so you go to your professional dashboard. It might pop up. If it doesn't, just go to your settings, the top right, that little hamburger thing, and you go all the way to the bottom.
The triple stack.
Yeah. So go to your profile, go to the triple stack, and go all the way to the bottom. Okay, and you'll see right under Help and Privacy Center, there's account status. Do you see that?
I gotta get that. I didn't even open it up yet.
Account status.
Let's see. Professional dashboard. Where are we?
So just go to the menu up top and go all the way to the bottom. That little stack, go all the way to the bottom, and there's account status.
Account status. Yep.
You click that, right?
Yep.
What does it? Does it say anything on what can't be recommended?
Yeah, it's got one little orange thing
on what can't be recommended, right?
It says it won't
so
won't
what that
show
means
you to non-followers.
Is it won't show your account to people that don't follow you,
right?
Which is the primary thing for growth,
right?
So when you click that, it'll show you what pieces of content.
Yeah, it's just one. It's me smoking a cigar.
Right. So now you hit appeal decision.
But how many other pieces of content you have of smoking a cigar? Every other post.
I know, but that's the problem. So it's
this is my point.
So you hit appeal. So one of the things is making sure that you have all the checks.
Right.
Because when you have all the checks, then you can start growing. Because let's be honest, how do you get more followers? Your content has to be shown to people that don't follow you.
Right.
Otherwise, you have to get it to shareable for other people.
Right.
So we'll keep track of that, and then if something pops up, we found that if you say something on implying that you should smoke a cigar, or if you're go smoke this, if you do everything that's just more hobbyist, don't put hashtag cigar smoker or hashtag smoking, or if you just put hashtag cigars, hashtag cigar culture, cigar society, all that stuff is fine. If you don't actually show telling people to smoke a cigar,
right,
and if you just talk about then you'll be fine with it. But sometimes you get flagged. So every time we keep track of that, and if we get flagged, you appeal it, or you say all right, maybe this is an older post, I'll just put it to the archive and remove it to try to keep your account in good status.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is back in the day, they didn't have that.
They didn't give a shit.
But now,
mine still like it.
You go in there and you're like, well, shit. Now it's what's the whole point? It's not being shown to people. So
the only way to get around it is you collaborate with other.
Yes.
That's what we normally do.
Yeah. So when we make clips for this podcast, we'll collaborate with Cigar Clowns, and then that's how.
And then that are people that they might follow you, but they don't follow us.
Right.
But they'll see it, and vice versa.
Right.
So that's how you kind of get around it.
So annoying.
It's so bad.
And I do all the social media for the brand, so it's
or if you get stuff
TikTok is even worse. TikTok is even worse. I tried doing
interest in TikTok.
When it first came out, I was like, all right, this is the trend. This is it's blowing up.
Right.
I had a little bit of success on it, but now, even if we're just talking about mob stuff, even if we're holding a cigar, it says your video cannot be posted on the For You page, and it gets 10 views. And I'm like, I'm not posting on TikTok anymore. It's YouTube. Do you do YouTube at all?
We have a YouTube channel. Yeah, we used to do our what do you call it? Taste Test for Tuesday on.
So you should, if you don't use YouTube Shorts, you should use YouTube Shorts. Any video that you upload to Instagram, YouTube Shorts. They have been more lenient. Some you post a bunch of videos, 6, 7, 8 times out of 10, it'll go through, as long as it's not anything crazy. And if it is, and if they do limit it or say it's not monetizable, you can appeal it, and they usually let it pass.
Right.
So I found success on YouTube, and then still Instagram is still the best platform for us.
I agree.
Unfortunately,
no, it's the truth.
Because Justin, I just saw your old green. I still have the same issue. I still have the one piece where it says.
It goes back and forth, but I think having shareable content, because you'll notice if you post something and you have that little share button, and you'll see how many times people shared it.
Right.
If you can get that number up, then every time somebody shares it, gets shown to their followers, which may not be following you, and you can grow that way. So the collaborations help.
Yeah, it's all about shareable content.
We didn't know about that account status thing until one time. Why is it we are not growing? We're stuck.
Bro, we've been at the same follower count for at least 2 years. I've been at 22,000. I used to be at 22,000.7.
Right.
I actually just got back to it, but for over the last 2 years, I was like only till a couple weeks ago. I was at 22.5.
And we didn't know about it, but now you know. And then you can also
stupid, man.
That's why I said you get onto X because there's actually a X has what's called communities, which are basically like Facebook pages, like groups, and you can post in there, and it gets shown to everybody in the group. And they have one for cigars. It's called like Cigar Twitter.
Right.
And so you can post. So we'll post some stuff in the cigar page,
right? And
then all the people that want to look at cigar content, it's like its own version of advertisement kind of.
Right.
Because you can't advertise cigar stuff. You can't run ads. You can't run promotions.
Right.
But you can take a piece of content and post it in a very specific page.
Gotcha. That's good to know.
For cigars.
That's good to know.
So if you just drop one, you'd be like, hey, even if you get a couple of people, it's new people.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, it's even with us in our infancy, like, even with people smoking cigars and hanging out, like, I would literally go on Instagram and I would have to scroll for like 2 minutes before I would not find a live that I couldn't, to look at people's stories. Like, everybody. We were on lives all the time. Every day we were on lives. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, you see maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 tops. They got regular people left. They got pissed off because they got. And now a lot of people in the cigar community are doing Zooms. Like, we do Zooms. Like, we're doing a HERF for the Festivus on Tuesday on our Zoom. It's open link. Anybody who wants to join, it goes on our bio. And, we have a thing called the Cigar Clown Army that we started. You can get patched as a patch member. I actually have the patches actually on the back of my sweatshirt. So we started a thing called the Army for like our hardcore followers. So you get an official patch.
Sick.
I'll get you guys a patch, and we have also our logo.
I love the logo too. It's such a unique.
That's the logo. Patch.
I'll forget about it.
Gotta forget about it on there.
Yeah,
that's sick. You gotta check these out. Those are
sweet.
I'll get you guys some.
These are
you guys aren't that far from where I live.
No, these are dope.
This ain't gonna be the last time we do
I
this.
I live here, so
do I.
I'm from here.
Yeah,
I'm only 20 minutes from where you are.
Yeah. So the Instagram thing, whatever. So I mean, so then we started doing our thing. We started getting allotments and started raising the allotments a little bit, and kind of initial investments were put in from everyone. And, we basically at the time we were just looking to get a return on investment, which we eventually got, probably within the first year. And then, all the proceeds, all the money that we accumulate kind of just rolled back into the business and stuff like that to kind of keep the business moving. So at some point, probably I would say in late 2020, early 2021, when we started doing, I think we were on like a 6th release and stuff like that, and getting it out there and people buying it and it was selling out. I mean, we were doing small increments. We weren't doing anything crazy. We had a distributor that reached out to us that was like, yo, I love what you guys are doing, man. I want to bring you guys on, help you guys grow and stuff like that. And it's something we don't really touch on because it's part of like our bad part of our history. I mean, it's not really bad, but we don't really discuss it. It was kind of like a big to do. It's towards the end of it with I don't know if you've heard of Privada Cigar Club.
Yeah.
With Brian DeSen. Yeah, so he was the one who kind of gave us that little bit of a launching pad to get where we were at, and he started the LCA, which is the Limited Cigar Association, which I think is part of the reason why it was so successful, is because we had 2 runs or 3 runs with the LCA that sold out like instantaneously, and helped build that, getting into shops and helping him getting into shops and stuff like that. And we had a little bit of a falling out. We did a bunch of runs. We had in both of his LCA series, we had a cigar called the Ron, and then we had a cigar called the Not Ron that was blended by AJ Fernandez for us. And the Ron did super well, and then we called the Not Ron the second version of that same blend in a bigger size, just to be, because we're clowns and that's what we do. We just kind of do stupid funny shit. I think we even when we were thinking about it when we first had the whole Cigar Clowns thing, it's like the opportunities for clown names is kind of endless. Like we've had names like the Captain Spaulding. I'm a huge horror fan. I love horror movies, so like Captain Spaulding from the Rob Zombie movies, and
do you have a Pennywise or no?
See, again, you want to talk about the legality. You don't want it. Like, I would love to do the Joker. The Joker is my favorite character of all time. Like, I would love to do a Joker, but you don't want to touch that. You don't want to touch the DC universe or anything like that.
Or you play, instead of playing the Joker, you do Joke -R.
Right.
It's the Joke R.
Well, it's kind of like there's cigars that oh my God, what the hell is his name? Was one of our mentors, like Robert Caldwell. Mm-hmm. He did like the Lando Snakes instead of Lando Lakes and used the same logo but just changed the name with this like limited series. So we kind of built our reputation early on like these limited drop things. There's only 1,000, and we built that FOMO, and people were like, oh, I don't want to miss out. The Cigar Clowns, great. Have you heard about the Cigar Clowns? And that's how we kind of just started to spread the word early on. And with the distributing with Privada, it helped us kind of grow our audience, and we kind of took a mind of its own. We were selling out. They were crashing credit card machines when they would order from the site, or they would take the site down. We did that 2 or 3 times that we crashed websites. Yeah.
That's
so it's cool. It's a cool part of our history. And, we would go on these runs, and then, we were putting out runs like once a month. That's why we have that catalog of 37 cigars, to date.
Because I was curious how you got so many
cigars.
Yeah,
we started those small batch limited runs. That's how we kind of built our reputation in the industry. And we came up with a phrase that our old partner Murphy came up with, we would tell people, you never had a Cigar Clown stick, that's fine, but trust our palate. We're going to give you the best quality cigar that we feel as a brand. We're not just going to put out a cigar to make money. We're not going to put out a cigar just to put out a cigar.
Yeah.
That's not who we are.
Same.
We stand by our brand. We stand by the cigar's fucked up or it doesn't smoke or you get a bad batch or something happens in shipment. We're going to replace it. Doesn't matter if we're small or not. That's we stand by our product. And we go through rigorous testing. We did a taste test. We used to do a thing called Taste Tester Tuesday on YouTube where we had a lot of our close friends who were super fans who would come in, and we would send them the samples that we got of a cigar, 3 cigars for that month, and we would test them. And 2 or 3 of those testers that we did actually that they picked were good. We made a full line production out of, not a full line production, but a limited release out of.
Sure.
So, and then, fast forward, to like, late 2021, early 2022, I believe, we had a falling out with Bravada, and, they thought, we were just going to kind of go under like the rest of these other small companies did. He would try to make us like a regional brand.
Could you talk about what was the falling out?
The falling out is just, I mean, it's something that I think we take pride in as a brand, that we didn't feed into the bullshit and the negativity. We kind of stayed quiet, and, people could say that we were bitches about it if you want to say, why don't you say? Because we're adults, we don't need to say anything.
Were they trying to like give you a certain batch that you guys? No, didn't like?
I mean it was more on the terms of like trying. Basically, what I can say is that when somebody doesn't think that they're the number one guy, or you're not respecting them as the number one person, and you're going to try to go off and do your own thing, which we weren't trying to do, that you're fucking dead to me. Doesn't matter what relationships we've built. I can go into the logistics of it. It's not really worth it. But, again, at the end of the day for us, it was a turning point. We took a little bit of a hiatus for a couple months to kind of get our shit together and kind of figure out what we're going to do. But the good part about negativity in life sometimes is that those negativities open up other doors. Mm-hmm. And the respect and the brand recognition that we had at that time, we had people reaching out to us and say, hey, we want to work with you. We see what you guys done. We've smoked your cigars before. We love what you do. We love what the brand represents. You blue collar guys. We consider ourselves to be still to this day a small fish in the pond, as much as we're a boutique brand and we're well known. I mean, we're in 48 shops across the country right now. We have huge online retailers with Smoke Inn and OGT Cigars out in California and Toro Cigar Company in Virginia. And I feel like I'm missing somebody else. Who am I missing? Smoke Inn, OGT, Toro, and I feel like there's one more. I don't know why I'm missing it. It'll come back to me. But if I forget, I apologize.
So you got your name and your brand out there to expand because of all these limited releases, because of all these exclusive lines from Cigar.
We did shop exclusives too. We did the thing called the 3-ring circus where we picked 3 shops and we made 3 blends for those shops, and they came out every 2 months, and it was like a rush to get them because you can only get them from that shop, and like the goal was to get all 3 from all 3 different shops. One being OGT in California. People were asking us to do a Lancero for a long time, and we tested so many Lanceros and we couldn't find that one we liked, and then we ended up stumbling upon it in a taste test, and we found 2 different blends. One was the Payaso Flaco, which we did for the place in Pennsylvania. I can't think of the name. We did it for that shop, and then we did a thing called the Greenie, which was we did the Payaso Flaco for the cigar shop in Woodbridge, New Jersey, Main Street Cigars.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
Main Street Cigars. Yeah, Main Street Cigars. We did an exclusive from them. Then we did the Clown Cero for OGT out in California, and then we did it was a small little. It reminded me of a nub. It was a little bit smaller ring gauge. It was a fucking killer stick, and it was one of the lighter Habanos that we've done, and we did that for which is now closed. Caravan Cigars. So they're closing I think at the end of this year they're closing in Pennsylvania. We did it for them. So we did like collaborations like that. And we built the notoriety, and we had the fan base, and people would go out and they would buy, and like it was the whole thing. Like if you missed our thing is like if you missed the drop, it ain't gonna be made again. Yeah. So it's like if you don't get your hands on it, you're not gonna get it.
Right.
So
limited.
Right. It was so limited. So that that was a big successful thing for us. And then like I said, after the whole Bravada thing, we went into a little bit of a hiatus. And we got our shit together. We hooked up with a lot of right people. Like I said, like I mentioned, Robert Caldwell is one of our mentors, and he kind of pointed us in the right direction with some people. And, we've had, do you guys know Banff Cigars, from Banff Cigars down in Florida?
No.
He's blended he's done a couple of our blends for us. The cigar you're smoking right now and the Rodeo Clown, which you'll smoke, what you have in the pack there, was blended by Tony Barrios from Stocky Cigars.
Okay. Oh, yeah, sure.
He's blended those two. I'll tell you a story about the Rodeo Clown. He retweaked that whole blend for us. But yeah,
is that the one that's got the horse on it?
Yes.
I always call it Stallone.
People call it Stallone, Stallone. It's Stallone.
Oh, that's okay.
The horse is on it.
Sure. Yeah, I've smoked those
Stallone
before.
cigars.
I think they sent me a sample pack.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, he's got great shit.
Yeah, no, they were good. They were good
he's
cigars.
He's an amazing blender.
The whole provide thing is pretty wild because anytime I'm on Instagram, I always see some kind of controversy.
There's always a controversy going on.
When we got involved in it a little bit without even knowing that we did, because we did an episode just about why cigar bands that are like talking about like copy infringement, like Sesame Street characters.
Oh, you want to go down that fucking road?
So we made an episode. We honestly had no idea who made those cigars. We would just see these brands with ice cream and Cookie Monster and this. And one of our friends, Matthias Klock, he made an article about it, and I said, this is a good topic to talk about because the FDA is always after the cigar industry. So making these cigar bands that are artsy, kid-ish related, it's only building them a case more on why they can stop cigars. And we talked the whole thing about it, and it wasn't even just the Privada cigars we talked about. We were talking about a couple of the brands, but at one point we were getting comment after comment on YouTube, like people just shitting on us, like, and we're like, where is this following? We were like, where is this coming from? And
they called it like a cult following almost.
Yeah. And all these we were just getting all these crazy comments, and we're like, oh, like this is from Privada, and they think we're like talking shit about it. And there was a few people that were in these Privada group chats, and they would start sending us like DMs like, oh, they're talking about you guys because we're like, what the fuck is going on?
And it was because all we were saying was that the FDA is already come after cigars, and we were saying don't give them any more ammunition to try to regulate cigars more than they already trying to do. And we felt that if these are not meant for kids, they're not meant for kids.
Yeah.
So if you're putting these kid-friendly images, then the FDA could say, hey, you're marketing to kids. And they could regulate it even more. So all we were saying was maybe it's not a good idea. Like you can use, if you want to use the word like the Cookie Monster or something, maybe don't use the Cookie Monster image, or maybe don't change, like call it something else.
Or Stocky Monster.
Try to change it a little bit. Don't give them any more ammunition. And we got so much.
We actually made a whole episode about all the comments that we were just going through all the comments and just made a whole separate episode.
It was actually kind of funny.
It was hilarious. Yeah. And I've talked to Brian in the past, and he's donated to our Christmas for Kids and stuff like that. So there was no animosity with him towards us, but it was one of those things where it's like you got involved in like drama without even realizing you got involved.
Oh gosh, it was hilarious.
Because every time I see him, he's always saying something. Like I remember one time he was going after like Arturo Fuente or something like that, and I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" Like I had no idea. But anyways, neither here or there.
Well, some people need drama to have followers. That's just it is what it is. But that being said, for us, like I think we handled it pretty well. We didn't feed into the bullshit. We kind of just, like I said, we did a little bit of a hiatus to kind of get our shit together, and it ended up being a positive for us. We spoke to a lot of people in the industry who supported us, and again tried to kind of make us go off into the sunset, like whatever the case may be. But it didn't happen that way. That's why the first cigar we came out with after this whole debacle was called Kiss the Ring. So it's like, while we're our own entity, we've been around since 2018. Yeah, you might have helped us elevate us with the whole distributing thing, but we built our own brand. You're not going to sit here and take that away from us. It ain't going to happen. We don't forget where we came from.
So was it they expecting like a certain level of like kind of kissing the ring type of thing because they're helping you? And
No, I just think that was kind of a nice way of shooting back, in my opinion, for me.
No, like the whole thing with Privada was that they kind of looked down on you, like, hey, we did this for you.
Yeah, they try to take it like they made us who we are, which is absolutely not even close to being the truth.
Yeah.
We built our own name and we did the work. Yes, did you help us with the distributing and putting us out there and stuff like that? Absolutely. I'm not going to take that away from it. Listen, at this point for me, I have my own personal reasons of why I'm I have issues with him, but does it affect my brand? Number one, because my brand is doing very well on its own, and our brand. I don't want to say my brand. Our brand is doing just fine. And again, when you have when you build a personal relationship with somebody, business aside, business is business. That's fine, but you completely just turned your back, and like coming from an Italian culture, that's a big thing.
Sure. respect,
you're
loyalty.
dead to me. You know what I'm saying? Respect, loyalty, and I have that tattooed on my arm. Respect, loyalty, and family is tattooed on my arm. That's the staple I was raised on. So you don't do shit like that. You have business issues and you want to move on, that's fine. Do it in a respectful business manner. But again, it's all in the past. And again, for me, I take it as a positive because it elevated us tremendously.
Well, yeah, it says a lot about people's character, how they respond.
Correct.
Right. You can either go down one way,
right,
or you can go down another.
But listen, there's
way,
a lot of people who were still in that following that turned their back on us, and then eventually came back during the line and said, "Yo, this is not right." Okay, listen, it's the same thing with shops, right? Do we want to get into every shop across the country? Absolutely. Are there shops that have had us in the past that don't carry us anymore? Of course there are. Am I mad at that? No. I'll give you a real quick story. There's a shop that took our cigars, loved our stuff. People were begging them to bring us in, brought us in, did successful, did well, sold out, whole night. Oh, that's great. We went to go do an event. For whatever circumstances, they fucked up and they canceled the event. After that, we never heard from them. Months. We come out with one. I don't even remember what stick we came out. It might have been the Geppetto. Oh, can we reorder? Can we get it in the Geppetto? Of course you can. I got no animosity. You want to bring it? Sure, no problem. It is what it is. Listen, we're not going to sit here and beg people to take us in. You're going to get. We're at the point now in the business that we have 10 reps throughout the country for us that rep the brand, that go into shops and get us into shops and stuff like that. Listen, you're going to take us, you're going to take us. You like us, you're going to take samples, whatever it is. There are some shop owners that are just running a shop just to run a shop, and then there are some cigar shops like, Cigar Dailies was the other major online retailer that we got.
Yeah, for sure.
Who I went to go see personally because I have family in Phoenix. So I was out in Phoenix and I went to go sit down. It took us a long time to get in there for him to believe in what we were doing, but and I appreciate him for giving us the opportunity. And we sold out the 4-pack sample that we did for him pretty quickly, and his customers liked it. So yeah, I mean, listen, it's great. I mean, people are going to come and go. It's like life, right? It's like friends, it's family, it's co-workers, whatever the case may be. People are going to come and go, but at the end of the day, it's not going to stop us from moving forward. Like I said, for us, it's still a daily grind every single day. Yeah. Ups and downs, slips and falls, cuts, bruises, tears, everything. Listen, it's not easy. We had the Festivus. I could tell you a story about the Festivus from last year. Festivus from last year, supposed to be delivered to us in November, gets delayed. Like we have, every cigar manufacturer has that issue. Bringing cigars into the country, getting them in. Now,
how much of a bitch is that import tax?
It's a bitch. The import tax is not terrible.
I fucking hate it.
But now let's use Nicaragua, for example. Nicaragua now has a tax where you have any new ban that you do for a cigar has to be taxed and approved by the government before you can put it on that cigar and ship it out.
Out of Nicaragua.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a new regulation that they started. So push comes to shove, all these delays, gets pushed back. We're supposed to get in December. It lands in Miami in this middle of December. Now we want to release this thing before Festivus and before Christmas. That's the point of the cigar. Gets held up in customs. They won't release the cigar. The paperwork wasn't right from Nicaragua. Shit. Fuck. They moved the cigars from Florida to Kentucky in a secure facility. They said you have 1 week to get this shit right or we're destroying the cigars. Now you're talking about thousands of dollars.
Who's saying this?
This is customs.
Damn.
We're destroying. Like it means nothing to us. Like if the paperwork's not right, it's either going to go back to the country or we're going to destroy them. So one of our blenders, Ish, who's a godsend, Joe reaches out to him. We were reaching out to people to see what we can do to get it done. He goes, "I'll call you back." Calls Joe back like 20 minutes later. He goes, "I put it under my licensing. I took care of it. It's all good. They're being shipped to my little factory. Not factory. It's like a little storage unit thing that has in Florida. I'm going to have them sent up to you, no problem." But again, that's the fucking humbling part of the industry and having people that that believe in what you do and you build friendships. Listen, are there scumbags in the industry? Of course there are. You both of you know that. Yeah. And there are great people in the industry. And we have been lucky enough and humble enough to have people who support us and are there for us in the time of need. But again, it delayed the release and they didn't come out until January. So it was a debacle for us for last year. So getting Festivus here on time this year, even though there were delays on this, it was supposed to be here again in the early part of November, didn't come until the beginning of December. So we had to rush to get it out, get it to our, we already had done a pre-order because what we've done with the Festivus, since it's such a limited run that we do every year, it's not part of our core line, is that we'll give first pick to the shops that are currently re-upping on our core line.
Sure.
They get first pick of the litter. If there's anything left over out of that 10,000 that people want, they can get into the shop. Sure. Like a new shop that's going to come on, let's call it Joe Blow's Cigar Shop in South Jersey. you're not going to get access to the Festivus. It's kind of like the Drew Estate model, where it's like, you have to do X amount of their regular cigar lines before you can get a leaguer in their lounge.
Sure.
Again, we're not Drew Estate, but I think it's a good business model for us to have to kind of showcase a cigar like this that's limited. That's X. And again, out of all the 4 Festivus that we've done, this has been by far has been my favorite.
What do you find it hard getting a cigar? You're a boutique cigar, right? Mm-hmm. We've heard from other boutique companies that New York is very hard to get boutique because New York is very brand conscious. Like it's like the big 5, the big companies.
It depends on the shop. Honestly,
so I'm saying. Shop. So, do you find success or?
We listen, as far as the local base is concerned, like we're doing the Christmas party at the Cigar Vault in Staten Island, which is probably one of our first home shops.
Sure.
Right, they're doing their Christmas party. They invited us to be the brand to showcase for their Christmas.
I stopped
Christmas
there
party
once.
this year. Great lounge. And again, it's one of our home lounges. It's a Cigar Clowns hangout when we first started, and I go there frequently all the time. My kids are on Staten Island, so I'm there all the time.
Sure.
And a shop like that is like, they doesn't matter. We're local and they want to help us and, succeed. But again, it all goes back to what I said earlier. It goes back to the fact that there are cigar lounges that will push your product and want to bring you in, are excited about it. Like we just landed Tobacco Road in down by Cedarhurst, right on the border of like Cedarhurst, right by the airport. Upscale lounge. Like this guy's humidor is unbelievable.
Tobacco Road, really?
Tobacco Road. It's in Cedarhurst. It's unbelievable. If you get an opportunity to go there, I highly recommend it. Anthony, the manager, they're great people over there. He reached out to us. He goes, my nephew said, won't stop breaking my balls about bringing you guys in. I want to bring you guys in. All right, we went there. We met with him. He sampled our stuff. He goes, I love it. He goes, I'm going to put you guys front and center in this lounge. And this is an upscale. This guy has Otoro Fuentes that you can't get anywhere in this country. Like legitimate, like really rare, limited shit, and we're in that facing with brands like you said, big scale brands. So yes, there are some lounges that will go out of their way. But I also feel like there's a surge in the cigar industry, right? Especially for the boutique brands. I feel more so now. A lot of these shops are recognizing the fact that the boutique industry is putting out these really good cigars, and they're recognizing and they want to bring more of the boutique in along with the mainstream lines. And again, nothing against the mainstream lines. Listen, I'm not your competition. As much as you think we're your competition, we're just a small little fish in the pond swimming around. We're not going to compete with a Fuente or a Cohiba.
Yeah. We're a squirrel trying to catch a nut.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, it's like, you should be supporting your brother's done. Where did you guys start, 30, 40, 60, 70, 80, 100 years ago? You guys started the way we did. So I feel like, you should be helping support the smaller brands grow and all that stuff. And a lot of them aren't like that, which is completely fine and completely understandable. But I'm not your competition.
Yeah.
I'm not your competition.
I kind of like it even more. It's kind of more of like a more of a motivational factor that the bigger brands kind of look down on the boutique like, we don't want to help you guys. And
right.
It's kind of like a whole I compare it to like Rome.
Right.
Rome was this big
right.
country, and then eventually it crumbled. Right. Not saying that's going to happen to the major cigar companies, but that same mentality. You want to infiltrate. You want to be top of the top. You want to be the best, and you want to make the right decisions to be the best.
Well, and again, to circle back around what we were talking about earlier, you have people who smoke cigars, and you have cigar smokers. There are people who go into lounges where only smoke Davidoff and Fuente and Padron. I love Padron. One of my favorite upscale brands.
And I feel like
and they won't touch the boutique industry, which is my point. They won't touch a boutique cigar.
Yeah. And I find that the boutique cigar companies are the only ones that support the other boutique cigar companies. Like, correct. People always ask us, like, why do you bring cigar companies onto your podcast if you have I'm like, because they're not really competitors.
Right, no.
We're more about building bridges as opposed to burning bridges. And because next time when I see a Cigar Clowns spot or a cigar in the lounge, I'll be like, oh, great guys. He's our guy. He's our own podcast.
Right.
And that's the same adverse effect that we get with people for us. They're like, oh, Blueprint, Diligent, those guys are awesome.
Right.
You should get them in the podcast.
Right.
I mean, in the lounge.
Right.
Because the only way you're going to grow is by building bridges, not burning bridges.
Right.
And we're not going to get it from the big companies. You're going to get it from the guys like us.
And I feel like we're blue collar, right? I feel like we're blue collar. We're blue collar at the end of the day. That's who we are. We're not white collar by any means. We're blue collar. And again, like you said, boutique supports boutique. Absolutely, 100%. I think there's a big surge in the boutique industry now with everything that's going on. And people kind of, my partner Joe kind of talks about it all the time. The days of buying boxes of cigars doesn't really happen anymore. Yeah, you got guys like our age demographic that are going into a cigar lounge, and like me, and I've never been a box buyer. Yeah, I want to try. What do you got new? Yep. What do you got boutique? What do you got even mainstream on? Oh, Drew say put out a new stick. Let me try it. I'll grab 5 or 6, 7, 10 cigars, single cigars, and if something that I like, I'll give you an example. Not my brand. the El Pupo by Ariston. Probably one of my favorite cigars over the past 2 years. I smoke constantly.
Very good cigar.
By AJ. Phenomenal cigar. But again, I tried it, and then I'll go there and I'll buy a 5-pack. I'll buy 6. I'll buy 2. I'll go into the lounge. I know that they have them on the regular. I'll go in there, and that's what I'll smoke. And again, we go into lounges and we support the lounges, whether they carry us or not. There's been times I go in with my shit and nobody says anything to me. I'll go up to them and say, hey, oh yeah, cool. I went into a lounge up in up where my girlfriend lives, up in by Palisades. There's a cigar shop up there that I frequent when I usually go up there and waiting for her to get out of work, and I hang out there. I go in there all the time. They know I have a brand. I say, oh, what do you bring? Oh, yeah. I'm not going to beat down your door. I'm not going to raid your humidor and beg you to take me in. You know who I am. You have my card. You want to try my shit? I'll give it to you, no problem.
That's like the same thing when we send out samples to lounges. Like we'll just find a lounge or through Instagram or whatever, reach out and be like, hey, we have our brand. We'd love to send you some samples. Right. If you like it, great. If you don't, just consider it free shit. Right. And sometimes they like it. Like, oh, this is great. I want to get you in. Sometimes you don't hear from them. Right. But where's my letter? Oh. But that's the beautiful thing about the cigar culture. Right. Is that it's one of the few industries where you can help each other. Right. And what I mean by that is like for the food industry, right? If McDonald's had a podcast, McDonald's is not going to bring on Burger King onto their podcast. It's not going to do it. McDonald's is not going to bring on Wendy's. Right. It's not going to happen. Right. But cigar industry, we have a cigar brand. We have the Blueprint. We have the Diligent. We're bringing on Cigar Clowns to talk about cigar because we can help you guys and you guys can help us, and we're a boutique brand. So the boutique cigar industry helps each other out, right? You might have a lounge, and you might go to the lounge and be like, hey, listen, if you're looking for something new, I was just on this podcast with these 2 guys. They got their own cigar. You should check. If you like mine, you should check them out. Right. And then vice versa. We go in and be like, hey, we just had Cigar Clowns. Oh, you like that cigar? Guess what? You should try out Cigar Clowns as well. Right. And it's like it's not like we're in competition because you can have both cigars in the lounge. Right.
Yeah, so, when people like friends, family, when they recommend, like when they say, what are your recommendations? I always will try to point them in the direction of boutique cigars. Because you can always tell them the Olivas, the Padrones, the Fuentes. But I'd rather see someone and try a newer, a different cigar, Cigar Clowns, a Nova cigar or a Gran Habano. Gran Habanos, I guess, maybe not so. Yeah, no, they're more mainstream, right? But
Family by Loyalty, Sheffield collection, which we did the Goldie Grace project with. There's a lot of boutique
Patriot cigars,
Patriot cigars, United.
United cigars.
I mean, United's gotten a lot bigger, but United, there's a lot of boutique brands that people don't know about, and you know what? When they tried, they're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know how many times we've done cigar shows, right? And we've had older gentlemen, guys smoking cigars for 30, 40 years, and they're like, because that, in New York, a cigar goes for like $17, $18, but really we sell for like $10, $11. Right. And the guys are like, why the hell are you selling this cigar for so cheap? Like, you guys are doing yourself a disservice, essentially. That's what, not verbatim. But we're like, well, we're a new cigar company. We're younger-ish in the industry. Right. How would it look to you as a veteran cigar smoker, a young guy's coming in the industry and saying, hey, I got a $30 cigar that you need to try? Right. You're going to be like, fuck you. I'd rather just buy a Fuente. Right. Yeah. And then you have to, like you said, you have to be humble. You have to be humble.
You're not established yet. Once you get established, right, okay, maybe you can release a cigar. It's like, hey, it's a special edition. It's $25 a stick. Right. But you're established, and people know your brand. They've smoked your brand before, and they go, oh, I like these guys. Right. I like what they bring. I'm interested to try that special cigar. Right. But if you just start with a $30 cigar, nobody's going to buy it. Right. I'm like, who do you think you are? Right. I can go get a Davidoff for Padron or a Fuente for $30, and you're just coming in. So,
well, again, it's kind of even like with us trying to do things differently. Like even with doing the Festivus for Christmas, right? Like we do these open Zoom herbs with our fans, with our clientele. Like, I mean, again, I run the social media. I answer all DMs. I repost everything. I consider us to be a brand of the people. Ain't no big mainstream brands that are doing that. Yeah, you'll see them at an event or a big the big smoke and stuff like that, where you can meet the owners and all that other stuff. They got people that are working for them. We're doing this shit ourselves. I mean, we literally in this past year we've just gotten reps. We've been doing this for almost 5 years now. We've been doing it ourselves, going to shops ourselves, going in to get into shops ourselves.
You've been hustling.
You know what I mean? Going, listen, can we travel the country, and put it on the business right now? No. But, listen, we have people now that believe in what we do. And, again, like a perfect example would be Toro Cigar Company. They're a veteran-owned company. We just did a limited release for them for Veterans Day with...
they have a podcast.
Double Tap. They do Toro Tuesdays. Yeah, he has a YouTube channel.
Okay,
Mike.
Yeah. Because yes. He's a fan of the podcast. Yeah, I spoke to him in the past.
Mike's the best. Shout out to Mike.
He's Navy, right? Navy veteran,
I believe he's Navy.
I believe.
Or he could be Army. I'm not sure what branch.
If I'm thinking
in.
of the same Mike, I believe it's the same person. But yeah, he's a great guy.
They do the whole honor and ash thing. Like, yeah, I mean, when me and Danny went down and drove down to Virginia and did the event and stayed overnight and did the event at Toro, and we did a collaboration with Double Tap Cigars, which is also veteran owned by two of our fans, Doc Holden and Bernie. And we did a cigar for them for the event. It was only available at Toro. It sold out within a day. We did a limited release for them. We're going to do it again next year. But again, those are shops that believe in the brand and push the brand. Come on Toro Tuesday, talk about the cigar. You got the Festivus coming out. Come on and talk about the cigar. Push the cigar out. All that stuff. And like I said, boutique. We're the ones who are still. I answer every fucking email. I DM. I send. What? How many of these brands? And I'm gonna let's just talk it as all. I'm not tooting the horn here, but it's like, you know, we sit on a Zoom and we hang out with people. We got 30, 40 people on a Zoom just hanging out smoking the Festivus on Tuesday night.
That's
you know
awesome.
What I mean?
That's fucking. And I agree when you say, you know, you're a brand of the people, because we are the same way, because we started as a podcast.
Right.
People started listening, following, engaging with us because of our podcast.
Right.
We engage every email, DM, comment. Even when people smoke the cigars, we repost every single cigar.
Right.
They send collabs. We accept a collab because without them, there's no support system.
Right.
And it's a weird concept when you are up against bigger companies and you think they're doing all the right things, but then, because a common thing that we always get when we do shows or cigar events is we engage with everybody.
Sure.
We walk around the lounge. Shake hands, break balls.
We're doing that tomorrow.
It's there's nothing better, right?
Yeah, no.
We did a cigar event, and it was all over with, and we were hanging out with the owners, and we were just smoking cigars and talking like, hey, how do we do? Like, any critiques? Right. And he said, you know, you guys are one of the only cigar brands that actually engage with the crowd. Right. You're personable. Yeah. You talk to them. You get involved. And they gave us an example, like, hey, we had a major cigar brand. Right. They brought the roller, the master blender of this particular cigar. Right. And the owner and the blender, they just sat in the corner and kind of just like smoked a cigar. That was the event. Mm-hmm. And they're like, you guys will be, if you guys keep doing what you're doing and even when we do events, not even cigar events, like we do golf outings, networking events. Right. We engage with all the people. Yeah. We just kind of say, hey, what's your name? What do you do? Why do you like cigars? First time smoking? You know, what do you like? We do this and that. And the common theme is always like, I've never experienced a cigar vendor or cigar table, whatever you want to call it, engaging with the people. Mm-hmm. And like, for instance, we did a poker event. Guy does a poker event for charity every single year. Right. And he brings cigar people, but it's always outside. Mm. And we got hired to do it for the first time this year. And Justin and I were like, we're going to bring a cigar, like, lounge vibe. I hate to use the word vibe, but that's the word to use. And he said, we're going to bring music. We're going to have a whole ball. Right. And by the end of it, we had so many people outside. When people were losing, they would come out, smoke cigars, hang out. And he said, man, you guys got to come back next year, because I've never seen so many people outside smoking cigars and hanging out. Right. And like, you guys just created an environment that's, once they get out, usually people just leave. Yep. He's like, there are so many people outside just hanging, bullshitting, smoking your cigars, just having a good time. And we're both in sales. We're both, you know, you're in sales as well. Right. But it's all about the people. It's all about making it's all about making them feel like you care. And we do care. Yeah. But it's all about making that personal connection, because not every company, not every brand, not even just cigars itself, but they don't engage with the with the people that help them build up their reputation and their brand. That's like our number one thing about growing our brand, is make sure everyone feels heard, engaged. Yeah. You know, don't blow anybody off because they buy your cigar and think you buy my cigar. All right, cool. Yeah. And Joe preaches that. Yeah, Joe preaches that all the time. Like, I'm building, we even tell the reps, personal relationships. They want to be like me. Like, there's some lounges that I've gotten that I built a personal relationship with the owner, and they're going to call me. They're not going to call Joe. They're going to call Danny. Mm-hmm. They're going to call me. And, oh, can I get this? Or can I do that? Or I'm going to go see them. Or I'm going to go, oh, I'll make it easy for you. The shop in Long Island, Tobacco Road. Instead of me having Danny ship it to you from a facility in Jersey, I'll hand deliver them to you, and I'll come and smoke a cigar and shoot the shit with you. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, that's building personal relationships, right? That's what it's about. And it's like you said, like, even bringing people together. We've done multiple collaborations for causes. We've done a thing for Stogies for Servicemen. We've donated to veterans. We've done the Toro event. We did a collaboration with Sheffield Cigar called the Goldie Grace. Which part of the proceeds that we raised for them is they're big against human trafficking. Yes. And we did a whole big thing, and that was going to be a limited
run that we did, and it was so successful and it was so sought after that we were able to source the tobacco for the cigar that is becoming one of our core lines. So it's coming back out again in January. So again, for human trafficking, and it was a huge success for us. And we're all about causes, and we're all about like, if you guys do anything that we can collaborate with you guys, we're always willing to help out, or whatever we can do to help out and do whatever needs to be done. But like the Goldie Grace was a special project for us. We met Justin at an event, and we were introduced by Eric Drazen, who owns OGT Cigars. You guys. So basically, the backstory to that is every single year since we've been a part of the OGT family, our cigar and their cigar has been in their top 3 every single year out of all the people who were part of their society. So he's like, you guys got to get together and do something. So we met briefly, we talked, I knew what they did, I researched them, I knew about what they were doing for human trafficking. I'm like, listen, we're all about causes, we want to help, anything that we can do to help. He goes, yeah. So, we went our way, they went their way, and we kind of, did our thing, and then we touched base a couple of months later, we started talking about doing a project for the human trafficking, raising money for human trafficking, and we raised money for Bikers Against Trafficking. What the number is what we raised, I couldn't tell you, I don't know, I'd have to look, I don't remember what it was, but we put out this release. We did a whole press release about it. I sent you guys the website. There's a website called Cigars Against Trafficking, which you can check out. It's a whole story about Goldie Grace and the backstory behind the I don't know if you saw the logo. I think I actually have one in here. It's all graphic art. I'm a big movie guy. I'm a big fan of the Sin City series. So the band art for the Goldie Grace, they were adamant about putting in a clown and having both of our logos incorporated in it. So I came up with this whole, me and Justin were talking one day and we were collaborating about what to do and what to come up with. And I said, I just watched Sin City recently. I'm a big fan of the graphic arc novel type of thing. So he goes, let's do something. So I do all the artwork for the brand. That's my thing. The bands, the artwork, the stickers, like the sticker for the Festivus. I do all the artwork, the stickers and shit like that. So that's like my creative side. And one thing I tell people is that if I was in the cigar industry, I don't know if I would have ever tapped that resource as something I didn't know that I had inside me. I've always was interested in, like I was talking about earlier, like tattoos. Like I love tattoos. I love the art, the Chicano artwork. I would have never probably tapped into that resource that I had, that I knew about, doing the art design and coming up with a logo and coming up with, I spent hours researching, and I bring it to my partners and say, what do you think about this? So I can tweak this. And I, all through the phone and all, not even on the computer, all through the phone, all through my tablet, 100%. And I have no degree in graphic arts. I know nothing about graphic arts. I'm self-taught, YouTube videos, the whole 9. And, he's like, yeah, I was like, I think we could do something. They wanted to do. I was like, we were kind of up to do a female clown because we haven't done a female clown in a while. And the Paesa was actually the last one that we had done. No, I'm lying. The Heartbreaker was the last female.
You couldn't do the Harley Quinn.
Yeah, let's do a Harley Quinn. We have to name her something different.
Well, you could just do it a Harley.
Yeah, I could do a Harley.
Just do a Harley.
Thought about it. But it's a couple people who've actually done Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
I've used the name Harley Quinn. I don't know if they used the actual logo.
Harley the Harlot.
Yeah, Harley the Harlot. So, and I said, let's name her, Goldie. Goldie Grace would be a great name. And she's a crime fighter. So we took, they had a cigar come out called the Freedom Fighter. So the Freedom Fighter has, and they also came out with a cigar called the Bloody Knuckles, which has the Bloody Knuckles, because again, they're the whole thing with human trafficking. So their logo, the logo that actually represents the fight against human trafficking, is a red X. So I took the concept of the Bloody Knuckles out of their art design, and I put the X on the Bloody Knuckles and added her to Goldie Grace, and came up with the whole black noir type of deal, putting Goldie Grace's name up on lights on the building, and having our logo on one of the billboards, and having the Shafio insignia their logo on the police car that's behind us, and it's like that 50s 50s vibe to it. She got the trench coat on. So, and again, we didn't think it was going to be as successful as it was, and we're happy enough it's going to be part of our core line. And then, we came up with the whole concept because it's a graphic novel design that we want to kind of create a universe and make her own entity. So we're kind of collaborating, putting both brands together and making Goldie Grace her own entity, and having spin-offs of superheroes and her onset of having, people that fight with her, maybe in a villain aspect, and kind of come in with quarterly cigars as a part of the Goldie Grace series.
Yeah, it's a whole storyline.
Yeah, it's a whole storyline, and it's the opportunity with that is endless at the end of the day. So it's stuff like that. We love doing causes, and we're all about causes, especially stuff with our veterans. We're very big into helping our veterans out and supporting anything veteran related, sending cigars overseas with, like I said, Stogies for Servicemen, who send cigars overseas to our troops. And, again, doing that Veterans Day event was big for us, and we love doing stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, that's, again, I think it's one of the big things with our brand that we love to bring to the table is we love to give back. And one thing that we sat down as a collective in the early days is that we were on the mindset of we're never going to forget where we came from. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who forget where they come from and just become, we're going to put out cigars just to put out the cigars to make money. We test we make sure every cigar that we put out is good, like I told you earlier, with the quality control and stuff like that. And, you know, it's a big part of who we are. And I think it made us who we are today. And like I said, moving forward into 2025, there's a lot of big things that are coming out for us in the near future. And it's again, for us, it's been a humbling experience for the past couple of years.
Man, it's you have a great cause, you have a great storyline, you have a great brand. You know, there's a lot that goes into it,
right.
and then that's what a brand is. It's all about the story. Yeah. It's all about the background, and I think that's why you're very successful, is because there's a whole nuance, there's a whole theme behind everything that you do with Cigar Clowns. I appreciate that. And people, that's what people buy into. People buy the storyline. People buy the authenticity of who you are as a brand owner, who you are as a person in a company, and doing good things, man. It's great to see. That. I feel like this is the coldest it's ever been in this fucking lounge. Are you cold?
Dude, I'm freezing.
Are you?
Because Justin has not spoken a word in like 30, 40 minutes.
I don't know if he's cigar drunk.
No.
I've been rambling.
I think this is a burn down first, because this man has not fucking...
I've just been listening.
Rightfully so.
It's been listening.
Hey, well, you don't talk too much. I'm just listening.
No, usually it's me that listens a lot. Right. Justin has been...
No, it is chilly in here, right?
I don't know why it's fucking cold in here today.
I don't know. I thought it was just me. I was just like, damn,
I'm not cold, but it's cold.
No, my hands were cold. That's why my hands are my thing.
47 degrees outside.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
It's only 60, 61 in here. I mean,
it's all right.
It's all right, but no, I've just been listening.
It's taking it all in.
Yeah, taking it all in, man.
No, because
it's good to listen sometimes.
Because people at the end of the day, people just see this, right? They just see the art, they see the logo. They don't know what goes into it. Not rightfully so. They don't know what goes into anything, but. You have to show people so they can appreciate the time, the effort, the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into it to building the brand. Like you say, it's a daily grind. I'm sure you talk. I'm sure your partners and friends every single day. Justin and I talk every single day, about anything that we're doing. Right. And you just have to keep on keeping on, as they say. Yeah. And in the words of Michael Herklotz, I talked to him the other day because we put up a post when we interviewed him last year, and it went like. Talking about virality, it's got like almost like 100,000 views now. Right. So he's like, "Gotta do it again." And I forgot what I was asking him, but I was like, I said something, and he's like, "Yeah, man, one box at a time."
One box at a time.
I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that's very, very
one
true.
box at a time.
Yeah,
one box at a time, and it's very true.
Yeah,
it's like with anything. It's just one box at a time, one step at a time, one day at a time, one. Like you just gotta
the analogy. As the analogy my father always says,
showing up.
How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
It's with anything. It's with a business. It's with relationship, personal growth. It's like one step at a time.
Yeah,
just that's it.
Damn,
just get through the next step.
Like my buddy at work says, he said, "Are you a man or are you a mouse? Man or mouse? What are you? What are you today? Man or mouse?"
Yeah, that's 100%.
You know,
and it ain't gonna be easy all the time. No, there's ups and downs with everything.
It's never easy.
I mean, look at us. Like we did, like I said, we did those. We've done 37 cigar releases to date, and we started on those limited runs. And now we have 4 core lines that we're working with now. King of Clowns,
love it.
The Festivus is great, man. I'm smoking it down to the nub, baby.
I finished mine. Done.
Yeah. I think the note we'll leave on is
we've been going 2.5 hours.
There we go.
Minus the break.
Yeah. So. I think we'll leave on the hiatus, leave the people with, that kind of determination, encouragement of, what you've been talking about, just building the brand and just keeping on, doing the right thing for the people, doing the right thing for your brand, and getting involved in any kind of cause. So, at the end of the episode here, we like to give you the red carpet, where you kind of just plug away. Any events that you got coming out, any new lines, anything.
Where people can find you.
Kind of just plug away shamelessly.
Okay.
And let the people know.
I feel like I gotta give. You want a hug to warm me up?
I'm telling you, this is a first. I've never heard Justin so quiet. Hey,
I mean, I'm definitely cuddly. I can tell you that.
You look cuddly.
I'm definitely cuddly.
Yeah,
my girlfriend likes that.
Plug away where people can find you on Instagram, your site. What you're doing, what you got going on.
Yeah, Cigar Clowns, at Cigar Clowns on Instagram, Facebook. We have the Cigar Clown Army Facebook page. We have the Cigar Clowns regular Facebook page. We currently have the Festivus is out now. If it's still available, it's selling out pretty quickly. I don't think there's many left. Again, limited release. If you don't get your hands on it, it's done and then coming back out again because we do a different one for the Festivus every year. but obviously maintaining the same logo in a different color. But Goldie Grace is making her appearance back in January, middle of January. She'll be out. That'll be a full release. That's us with the Sheffield collection. Shout out to Justin and Crystal, our partners in that venture. Again, it's a fight against human trafficking. We're trying to end human trafficking, which is a big pandemic in this world today.
Absolutely.
It's been for a long time. We're actually doing our Christmas, like I touched on it earlier, we're doing the Christmas event at the Cigar Vault on Staten Island tomorrow from 5 to close, out on Staten Island, 96 Page Avenue, Cigar Vault. If you're in the area, come by and stop and see us. I can't even speak. And we have the official Festivus herb. Everybody should have their Festivus cigars that they ordered by this week. We're going to do an open herb on Zoom. You guys are more than welcome to join. We'd love you guys to join if you guys have some time. It's on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. It'll be on our Zoom. The link will be in our bio on Instagram. It'll be put out on our Facebook page and all our social media outlets. And, yeah, man, big things to come for 2025. Looking to close out the year on a high note with the Festivus like we do every year. It's been an honor and privilege, and I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a fucking blast, and we definitely got to do it again.
It's our pleasure, man.
Feeling is mutual, man. We're glad you came on and sharing your story. You know, I've obviously heard of the Cigar Clowns. I've seen you guys on Instagram, but it's good to know the face behind the brand. Yeah. And
the face of the biz, the franchise, as Joe calls me. The face of the franchise.
The franchise, baby.
Yeah.
So, again, Ray, we appreciate you coming on. Make sure you guys check him out, Cigar Clowns, and all his services, or what do you call them? Services or causes.
Causes.
There you go.
Serviceable causes.
Yeah, I was having a little malfunction there.
That's a good one.
All your causes. Thank you again for coming on. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. I appreciate
it. As our signature send-off, I got water here, but we like to say cheers, chin chin, and salute. Thank you guys and gals for watching. We'll catch you guys on the